The
Oh,
Hangout is
back.
on live. Welcome, everybody, to Captain's Podcast, Episode 1. All right. So, today's topic, the generations of video games. So, how familiar are you two with Pong?
Pong? Well, I'm very familiar with it. I mean, I haven't played it as much, but I'm definitely familiar with it. It was like one of the first. It was like one of the first games that was to be majorly played by. I'm not sure about to be majorly played, and it was a successful game. That's what I've been. That's what I was like reading about it.
Like, like, my mother had a Pong machine back when she was a kid back in the 1970s. He's like, obviously, she doesn't have it anymore, but I have played Pong before. Some of it seems like with Pong, it's either very easy, like or it's very hard, depending on which
Mm.
version of Pong you're playing on the internet.
True on that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
Like I
pretty
played,
familiar.
I played it before. I just don't remember which version it was though.
Yeah, I played Pong quite a bit. I think the first time I played, I think it was on a PS2. Not sure. It was like an art classic uh, arcade collection. But yeah, I played quite a bit of Pong.
So how familiar are you with the second gaming generation?
Yeah, that's
I'm actually familiar with that one because that's when Pac-Man, DK. I don't know if you
yeah,
guys were aware of that, but that series actually got started in that generation. But it wasn't the DK that we're more familiar with today. It was actually a different DK back
Yep.
then.
yeah. That
And
was
then you also had
DK's.
and then you also had the Richard Brothers game that came out that same generation.
Yeah.
Those are some games I'm familiar with it. And then there's Miss Pac-Man, and I believe what is it? Galaga, Digda. All those
It was
games
the
got their start on the second generation.
it was the golden age for arcade games.
Yeah, it was.
I have
I
to
mean,
agree with that.
that craze pretty much started. I think it started off with the Space Invader. I think so, but it was especially especially by 1980. That was a pretty big breakout year for gaming.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
was. And
both
It
in the
sure
arcade
was.
and both in the arcades and for the consoles. That's really when the Atari 2600 really started becoming popular in homes. Like even though it was released back in '77.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then also in that generation, you also had the Atari 2600, you had the 7800 for the ROM. You
yeah.
had the ColecoVision. You had quite a bit of consoles in the second gen. That's
Yeah,
when, a lot of, you know, that's when a lot of consoles trying to be the arcade at home machine.
true. And uh,
Yeah,
and
there's
it's also when Sega got their start. A lot. Here's actually a quick fact people don't realize is that before they had the Genesis and the Sega Master System, they actually had another console called I think the
S
G1000
SG
that came
1000.
out around that came out. I believe that's the name, but it came out around the time the second generation was in place. But I believe it was only a Japanese exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it came out in the early 80s.
think I heard it was only released in Japan and I think New Zealand, some country around that area. I mean, I know it was released in Japan. I know it was not released in the U.S. or Europe. But I heard it was released in two countries.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was released in the New Zealand side. I just thought it was in Japan.
Uh,
See, got it up right
But
here.
yeah,
So
I believe that first Sega at that time, I believe it was called the G1000. I'm not entirely sure. I know it had the 1000 in it. I just wasn't sure if it was the letter G or was a different one. But yeah, that was the
yeah,
first
that's what it's
one
called.
from
Yeah.
Sega that came out before the Sega Master System, and then the well-known Genesis, or in other countries known as the Mega Drive.
it says
Yeah.
right here that it was released in Japan, Australia, and it says other regions. I'm assuming that means around the Oceania or somewhere in Asia.
That would be correct because that's what Oceania refers to. It refers to like Australia, New Zealand, all those areas.
Yeah. Australia, New Zealand, New Guinea. Yeah, those countries.
So about Donkey Kong, of course, this was Mario's first appearance.
That is true. Actually, it was, and then this is where Mario would have to save this lady, which was called Pauline at the time, and he would have to avoid all the barrels as well as the fire that came out of the pots, all that stuff.
So the Donkey Kong in this game is usually referred to what we know as Cranky Kong now.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, there's a lot of debate whether he's Donkey Kong's father or his grandfather. Like Rareware considered him to be his father, while Nintendo considered him to be his grandfather. Usually, you hear grandfather now because Rareware's out of the picture now.
Actually, I can actually answer that question. I was reading a little bit about it like a few weeks ago, and Cranky Kong is actually considered the grandfather of the current one, of the current DK, because I was looking at DK Jr. and they said that DK Jr. is the father of the current DK right now.
Yeah.
Oh wow, didn't know that. Oh, I thought DK Jr. was the current DK. See.
Yeah, I thought, you know what? Because I actually thought that DK Jr. was the current DK that we're familiar with now, but I found out that they're actually two different characters.
Oh.
I think I heard that a Rareware actually wanted DK Jr. to be the DK, but Nintendo wanted Cranky to be his grandfather. But now, since Nintendo owns all the rights to Donkey Kong, since Rare was bought out by Microsoft, Rareware no longer has a say.
Oh yeah, true.
True.
Yeah, and also, even though this isn't official, a lot of people speculate that Jumpman may actually be Mario's father or grandfather.
Jumpman? Oh, I wasn't aware of that. I mean, I'm not sure. I know you guys. I know you didn't say it was true or anything, but I wasn't aware that speculation that could be happening. I mean, I didn't think that people would link Mario and Jumpman to be two different people. I thought they were the same person.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is something I heard from I believe it was from the channel The Game Theorists. Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I have.
Oh really? He's really big on YouTube.
Wait, did you say the name again?
The Game Theorists.
Oh, the Game Theorists. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that person.
Yeah, he does videos about, is Mario a villain? That video is Mario a bad guy? You know. Yeah, he's pretty interesting. I used to watch him back in like 2014. I used to watch him.
Yeah, around that time is also when I watched him.
Yeah, that's when the channel was. That's when he got his peak. Like he had just hit 1 million subscribers.
So in 1983, of course, you had the Mario Brothers game, the first name with the Mario in the title released, and you were blue at this time. And
it's a game where you could have played it on, I think, the Super Mario Brothers 3 All-Star version, because there's actually a game. That game is actually on there, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on the SNES. Yeah.
Also, 1983 is the year the video game industry crashed, as you know.
Right.
Yeah, I was about to say.
And it practically died for about like a year or two before Nintendo were like revive it with the NES, with the original Super Mario Brothers.
One interesting thing I heard about the video game crash, one of the contributors to it, believe it or not, was the PC. Even though this was before the internet age, people bought PCs for gaming back then.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think I've read about that. I believe, because I read that people back then used to program games to because they had to learn how to code, because they didn't know all the basics, so they would have to learn how to code by themselves. And then over the years, they were able to do that and gain those skills. They were able to program their own games, which is why we have games such as Oregon Trail and all those other lesser known games.
I also wonder what the computer was used more for back then.
I wasn't used for taxes, business stuff.
I think so.
It was probably. I bet it was probably used more for programming, because if you wanted to write create your own stuff, you would have had to be a good programmer, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, because I remember I remember the 80s popular in the 2000s. Howard and what's his name, Jessica, will talk about computers in the 80s. That computers were mainly used for like doctors' offices, like a lot of like corporate workers used it for like business and stuff. So like computers were pretty, were used differently than this. It was used for like typing, papers. That's what they said in the 80s there. Yeah.
So you said we mentioned the Oregon Trail, didn't you?
I did, yeah. That was one of the most popular games back then. But there's actually two different versions to it. The first version is like where it was all green and black.
Yeah.
And then the other one was all like colorful. This is one of the games that a lot of the older millennials love to claim that they played and grew up with, to the point where they want to try to distance themselves from the millennial generation.
Did you ever play the Oregon Trail?
I played it like once.
Well, for me, I haven't, but I've heard of it though.
I played it once. It was in I forgot what grade it was. I think I was in 5th or 6th grade when I played it.
I've heard kids my age saying they played it in kindergarten.
Oh wow! Yeah, but I know I was like pretty young when I played it. But yeah, it seems pretty complex for like a game that came out in like the early 80s. It seemed pretty.
Well, no, Oregon Trail actually came out earlier than that. I mean, the 80s is actually when it became popular, but it actually was released much earlier than that.
So moving on to Super Mario Brothers, and the release of the NES, as I know, that was first released in New York only.
Yep, that's true.
And then it was released worldwide, like I believe after that.
Yeah, in '86, that's when the rest of the world got hands on it.
Yeah, it was really supposed to be Rob that was supposed to sort of save the gaming industry. Like that's sort of they marketed it as. But Super Mario Brothers became I believe, the best-selling game on that. Yeah, it was the best-selling game of all time at the time.
Yeah, up until
Wii
Sports.
And I think it still is, and I think it still holds that record today.
Oh, actually, Wii Sports passed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it held it for like 21 years, like 25 years, I believe, until like Wii Sports.
So it was really in 1987 we really started becoming a common in people's household. That's really the breakout year for the entire video game industry for being something other than a fad.
Yeah,
true.
Because I remember
that's when you had Zelda, Metroid. Those were the two other franchises that were introduced on that console, and then you also had Mega Man and another series that was also introduced at the same time.
The Castlevania.
And that as well as I believe Final Fantasy, except that was more Japanese because it didn't come to here until like much later.
Yeah.
It didn't come out to 1990, so yeah, Final Fantasy, the first one, Final Fantasy, the first one came here, yeah.
And I believe that it was either 87 or 88 when Contra came out.
Oh yeah, that's a game that a lot of NES kids talk about. But yeah, the NES was a pretty monumental console. I mean, it saved the industry. It saved the industry. It was the first Nintendo console. It was the first controller with a D-pad, which controllers still use it to this day, 32 years later. It was the first console to introduce the what do you call it, red, white, and blue cords. What do you call that? I forgot, the aux cables. I'm not sure what do you call them things.
I believe it was also the first console that introduced a video game gun.
Oh yeah.
Actually, the Odyssey had a video game gun.
Yeah.
Close enough. Oh well, close enough.
And you had the NES Advantage. Not a lot of people talk about that, but NES Advantage, it was a cool arcade controller. They could like play like fighting games on it.
Yeah.
So about Mario, one controversy that came, I believe, 88, 89 was a Super Mario Brothers 2. That it was not the real Super Mario Brothers 2. I mean, I'm glad it wasn't because the original Super Mario Brothers 2 is one of the probably the hardest Mario game I've ever played.
Oh, you played it?
I played it too on the not the original obviously back then, but I played it on the Super Mario All-Star version, and yeah, it was really tough.
Oh,
Yeah, so of
dang,
course they
really?
took a Doki Doki Panic, like for Super Mario Brothers 2.
Yeah,
Actually,
that sounded like that was a fun idea at first.
Yeah,
yeah,
I've actually played the Super Mario Bros. 2, the Donkey and Panic one, on the Game Boy Advance. It was called Super Mario. It was called Super Mario Advance One on GBA.
it didn't have both the first one and the second Mario.
No, it just had this. Like Super Mario Advance One was Super Mario Bros. 2, and Super Mario Advance 2 was Super Mario World
Oh,
on the GBA. Yeah.
but yeah, the one that got their idea from Doki Doki Panic. I actually had a lot of fun with that game when I first played it. I didn't play the original one until a little later, but when I played the All Star version, oh yeah, I had so much fun with that game. I kept trying to find all the cheats to like not only to like skip past levels, but I would also find as much as I can to beat all the enemies, and probably get like a perfect 100, even though they probably did not have that at that time.
yeah, I like that game too. I mean, it seems unfair that it gets too much flack just because it wasn't the real Mario 2. Plus they
Yeah,
introduced
and it's also and it's right.
characters that we still see today. I mean,
You,
even
you
though
said
Birdo
Bert.
is
Yeah, you said Birdo. Yeah, yeah, that game introduced Birdo, and it's also the first game where not only do you play Peach, who was known as Princess Toadstool at that time, but it was also the same first game that you was also to play Toad. And a lot
Yep.
of people don't actually know this, but it was also the first game, and possibly only one of the first few games out of all the Mario series to not have Bowser in there.
Yep.
Oh
So,
yeah, I
now-
didn't
so
think
it's
about
also
that.
speaking about 1989. This is the year SimCity came out.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, it came out that early? Wow.
Yeah, the first version of SimCity.
Oh, but yeah, that's also you've got Sega Master System. That's also part of third gen,
Yeah.
which kind of started the whole Nintendo was a Nintendo was a Sega was really confused with Sega back then, but kind of start it kind of was the origin of the Sega versus Nintendo war that kind of led to the 16-bit era in 1989.
Yeah,
True.
the
Yeah,
Genesis
that's
really
when
started. The Genesis really started it in the U.S. The Master System was really only popular in Brazil and Europe.
that
Yeah,
is true. That is true. Yeah. A lot of people, when I see people remember like what consoles they play, I don't really hear much.
your mic is
Uh,
cutting out. Yeah.
and then I believe this is also the same year where I think the first TMNT games came out.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's around the time Ninja Turtles were popular, late '80s.
And it's
Yeah,
also the same, and I also believe that this is also the first year I think where I think the first Madden game came out too.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
anyway, 89.
Yeah, either one of those two. Either it was 1988 or 89 that the
Yeah,
first
Joe Madden.
Madden game came out.
Let's see, I'm about to look it up right now. Let's see, first Madden game. Let's see. Let's see. Oh yeah, John Madden Football, June 1st, 1988.
And was it released that year here, right?
I think so because obviously this is an NFL game. That's only popular especially at this time in the U.S.
Yeah. Except back then when it was started, that's how it was called for like the first years per use, because I read that the games did not have the NFL license, I think, at that time, so they had to call it like John Madden instead of like NFL Madden.
Yeah. Let's see. So next game is a Super Mario Brothers 3. Like many people still consider that game to this day to be the best Mario game. Like I'm not don't totally agree with that. I think Mario World would be my favorite, but
Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people say Mario Bros. 2 was harder than Mario World. I kind of disagree. Mario World was pretty challenging. You know,
yeah.
I mean, some of the
It
levels,
was.
especially.
I really don't remember. I don't remember Super Mario World being that challenging.
I mean, it wasn't super hard. I mean, but you did die a lot, especially towards the end of the game. Like that's
Well,
when it
that
really
is
got
true.
intense. Yeah. in browser, man, battle in browser, that was intense. That bad. That was like probably the best browser battle in a Mario game. That it felt so epic. Yeah, but it's definitely my favorite. Definitely Mario World is my favorite 2D Mario. For sure. That's my favorite 2D Mario. Like, I used to play that game a lot on GBA version of that game. Like that was.
But yeah, back to Super Mario Brothers 3. Like I said again, I didn't play that game originally until I had the Super Mario All Stars version, and I just like the Super Mario Bros. 2 one, I also had fun with that game as well. Although it was challenging because because it didn't have, there was a lot of things that it didn't have that was first found later on in Super Mario World, like the feathers. They didn't have that obviously, so you could not use that trick to hit the ground and like turn and then hit the enemies, that kind of stuff. It didn't have that yet. Obviously, that game did not have Yoshi at that time, so it kind of made it a little more difficult. And then each world had about 8 or 9 levels each compared to Super Mario World. But yeah,
it was also the last main Mario game to not have a save feature. Super Mario World was the first.
That is true.
Oh yeah, because NES had the batteries.
And speaking of that, I'd actually refer to 1991 as somewhat of the first modern year of gaming.
I can see that.
Modern year. I wouldn't. I mean, I can understand what people mean when it comes to like say modern, but I'm not entirely sure though, because I think it's still part of one of the old era video games.
Yeah.
I guess the reason I say modern because that's when Super Nintendo was like the first. A lot of people, especially a lot of younger millennials, like really have a strong, really reminisce of the Super Nintendo because that was the console that kind of got into gaming. It lasted up until the late '90s. So a lot of people nerdy gamers, they should remember the Super Nintendo, even though they weren't even born when that system came out.
Yeah,
that is true.
The main reason,
like you said, Mario, all the games, because and even Machine had actually agreed what I said. He had backed up for me too, that it was true that a lot of people did play the Super Nintendo, and not just that, but possibly the 4th generation games and consoles in general up until like the late '90s. Like that is true.
Yeah.
Also, it came out in '91. Sonic, the first Sonic the Hedgehog game.
That is true, and it was a huge phenomenon, which was supposed to be this rivalry against Mario, Nintendo.
Because when Genesis came out, Nintendo was still going strong. You have Mario.
Right.
And
its mascot before Sonic was a character called Alex Kidd.
Yeah, actually, the first real tactic Sega really used to boost the Genesis was other than promoting as a mature console, was getting Michael Jackson for Moonwalker.
That is true. That was another game that they had as well at that time.
Because back then you didn't. It's not the case now, but back then there were hardly any celebrity-based games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't really think of a lot of celebrity games that came out back pre 3D and all that kind of stuff.
I think it's the only thing with Mike Tyson Punch Out. That's the one that everybody remembers.
Yeah. See, also in '91, did you play the SNES version of SimCity?
No.
Oh, me no, I didn't play that either.
Also, this was the year that I believe Street Fighter 2 first came out.
Street Fighter 2, and it's also the year that the first Streets Rage came out, as well as the first F-Zero game came out, because that's the game that introduces Captain Falcon, a character that you will see on Super Smash later on.
Yeah, Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, Street Fighter 2 was a huge game back in the early to mid 1990s.
Yeah, it was.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised by that, because that was probably one of the first few Mario games to come out at that time, and I bet considering you probably would have thought that there was no fighting games at that time until they came out with like the whole arcade beating and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll move on to the 4th gen, Captain.
Say that again.
You want to move on to the 16-bit era?
Yeah. So one more game in '91. I want to see if you guys played before. Super Castlevania 4.
Oh, I haven't played those Castlevania.
No, I didn't play that either back then.
Yeah, but also if you want to leave, also another way to end up in this generation, Kirby, Nintendo's favorite pinball, in the early '90s.
Oh well, Kirby was introduced on Kirby was actually introduced on the Game Boy. It didn't have that character didn't have a Super Nintendo game until like way later in the span.
Oh, also an NES game. He was on NES too.
Kirby's Adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Kirby's Adventure or Superstar was like the first few, I think.
Since we're on the topic of fighting game, this one caused a huge amount of controversy back then. Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah, now you really
because this is like, I mean, I know that back then they did not have the whole rating thing yet, but it was like a huge deal because it had involved a lot of blood, and then people were like decapitating their characters and all that kind of stuff.
And Sega tried to save themselves. Like for a while, they had their own rating system.
They did. Yeah. Nintendo sure did.
Yeah,
which is why if you play the first Mortal Kombat on that console, it won't show all of that graphics, but if you play it on the Sega Genesis, it will.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another game that caused the controversy that sort of led to the rating system. If you've heard it, a game called Night Trap.
Oh yeah, that game. They said a game.
Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah. So what sort of happened, but eventually with all this, there was a court hearing at the end of '93. Have you heard about this?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think I read about the court hearing at one point because I read about the history of video games and how it led to the creation of the ESRB.
Yep. That really started with this Senate hearing.
Yeah.
Gaming historian has covered it.
Yeah, and another user who covers video game history you should watch. What's his name? My Next Appliance. Yeah, you guys should check him out for console wars. He talks about from the first generation up to the current generation. He's pretty well into tech. He's into gaming. He kind of explained the history of the 16. He probably explained the 16-bit era pretty well, what happened. Yeah, but once you get to the 16-bit era, that's when gaming. I can see why. Again, I said earlier how this thing was the first modern gaming year, because that was the year SNES came out. Street Fighter, I think Street Fighter 2 came out that year. I'm not sure.
Saving became a standard.
Yeah. Shoulder buttons. Yeah, we had shoulder buttons for the first time.
Yep.
4 buttons on the control, four face buttons.
Yeah, because that was all. Yeah, you're right. Because the Super Nintendo was what introduced the X and Y button, and then the Sega Genesis had introduced a C button, and then not only that, the Super Nintendo also introduced 2 more additional buttons, the L and R button, which has been practically used in every console since.
Yep.
Yeah, and also that was also when also during that time, that's also SNES also had the FX chip, which kind of it's kind of.
Oh yeah, I was about to. Didn't think about that, but yeah, since we're on the topic of 1993, even though you can argue that this sort of technology existed previously with Super Mario Kart being able to render sort of a 3D even though it wasn't full 3D.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It sort of gives somewhat of a 3D perspective.
Yeah, a few games did have that, even though it wasn't totally 3D like it was later on. But there were a few games that did have it. I did play Super Mario Kart back then. I mean, I didn't have it myself, but one of my friends did, and I had played it, and it was kind of, despite it was all
cartoony,
not just cartoony, but all how all the 2D sprites were almost practically paper. It did seem like it was very little 3D though.
Yeah.
Another game that was also like that. And I'm not sure if you guys played it at one point because you would have needed the Super Scope for it. Was Yoshi's Safari? That is also a game that was 3D, where Yoshi was all cartoony, but except for that, it was a little bit more 3D than Super Mario Kart, but still it was practically a 2D game,
Yeah.
That's the game that uses the Super Scope, right?
Yeah, it was required that you have to have the Super Scope to play that game.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
interesting thing about the Super Scope, it was wireless, even though it didn't really work too well. Angry Video Game Nerd did a video, but well, it was part of his video.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to play that game so much, but because I didn't have the Super Scope, it was practically became an unplayable game for me.
Dang, that sucks. Oh
So yeah,
man.
I know.
yeah, like we said before, Star Fox pretty much introduced the FX chip.
Oh yeah,
It sure
true.
did, because I did read about that game too. That it actually did introduce that thing,
Yeah.
even though I didn't have that either back then. So
Yeah,
Like
and since we talked about this earlier, it was sort of a response to the Sega CD.
wait, Star Fox was created in response to the Sega CD?
Well, sort of the technology about it,
Oh wow.
like Nintendo wanted to one up Sega because this was the first real console war.
I know. Oh, it sure was, but I wasn't aware that Star Fox and the FX chip was like really that's something that was introduced to combat Sega CD. I wasn't aware of that.
Well, I know it was made to combat Sega.
It sure was. I mean, obviously, because they had like this huge rivalry between each other back then, before PlayStation would practically take over and dominate against both.
Yeah, I mean, not only did Sega have the Sega CD, but they were also boasting blast processing that they were a faster console.
Yeah, I was looking at, I watched a commercial of Sonic 2 back then, a few years back, and it did use that, and it actually had used that word, blast processing.
Yeah. Let's see.
And then the Sega CD, later in that same year, like months later after Star Fox came out, Sega CD came out with Sonic CD.
Yeah.
A game that a lot of people don't. I don't know if a lot of people don't remember that game like that, or it's just not memorable compared to like the ones that came before and after. But
Actually,
this is also the game. This is also the game that actually introduced the first female character, Amy.
Yeah, I actually hear a lot of people either consider Sonic CD or Sonic 2 to be the best Sonic game.
Oh, really? So Sonic CD is supposed to be like, oh, it is. Oh, or you said Sonic 3 or Sonic CD?
I said Sonic CD or Sonic 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sonic CD, yeah, it was the first game to introduce the first female Sonic character.
oh yeah, sorry, I had to read, but like one game I wanted to mention to you guys that since we saw about the FX chip, Donkey Kong the Country.
Oh yeah.
That game pretty much paved the way for 3D. It's first like pseudo. It's considered the first pseudo 3D game because it
Yeah.
looks.
Use it sort of like these 3D sprites.
Yeah.
Another game before we touch too much of Donkey Kong Country, Doom, and as well as Wolfenstein.
Yeah, that was a big deal too. Both Wolfenstein and Doom, they were a really huge deal back then because they were like the first two games. They were like the first two shooting games I believe, and they also were like in like they were not like a real 3D, but they kind of had that perspective in it. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, like the Doom was heard first released in 93, I believe on the PC. And it was ported to consoles later in 94, 95.
Yeah, it was released so late in that year. Like I was looking at the date and it said it was released in December, so
yeah, it was like one of the first games on PS1.
Yeah.
I believe so. I think I remember reading about that too.
I mean, it came out in 95. There were not too many PS1 games available in 95 for the PS1, except maybe I don't know if Jumping Flash was released that year.
Yeah, it was. It was a launch game.
So anyways, back to a 94. Another game I want to bring up is Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles.
Oh yeah, that was like the last.
There's actually some history behind those two games.
Yeah.
Like originally, I was looking at it like the history behind that game by itself. It was actually originally supposed to be combined into two, but because of the time constraints and they wasn't able to finish it in time, they had to break it into two games, which is why Sonic 3 in generally has less levels compared to Sonic and Knuckles. and
Yeah,
which is also why in Sonic and Knuckles you don't see Tails.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Also,
this is-
I mean, the innovative thing Sonic and Knuckles did was it was a cartridge with a slot on top.
That's true. You were, and that's how you were able to play Sonic Knuckles in Sonic 2, and it also brought up the part where you can play Sonic 3 how it was originally intended to be.
Yep.
Oh yeah, another thing. So you talk about '94. That's also when you had the Charlie Jaguar. You had the Jaguar came in '93, but you had Jaguar, 3DO, and you had the 32X that came out. That was out. So you already had you had the fifth generation was already kind of on its way at
Yep.
'94. The fifth generation of gaming.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and Adam Corley covered this. Even though I would consider those cons, even though they're officially 5th gen, I would consider them more generation of 4.5.
Yeah, because it came out right when the 16-bit was still going on. Like people were still arguing who
Like they're technically 5th gen, but they were relevant during the 4th gen.
Yeah,
Right.
especially 3DO. 3DO came out when Super Nintendo was only 2 years old.
Yeah, and also the main reason why it flopped was it was over expensive.
$700 in 1993. God,
Yeah.
that's like how much? That's like 1,000 something in today's money. That's wow.
Yeah, and the fact that I believe the 4th generation was the last one to have, or maybe it was the 5th generation. Either one of those two were the last to have a lot more consoles than just the main ones like Sonic, like Sega and Nintendo.
Yeah, because once you get to the 5th generation, that's when we had. Once you get to like 93, 94, that's when we had like Philips. We had Casio. We had Panasonic. We had so many so many electronic companies making consoles. But then once they heard about Sony, once people heard about the PlayStation, everybody got scared.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo did Sony wrong in '91.
Yeah. I think the PlayStation pretty much may have surprised a bunch of people because people didn't know at the time it was just going to end up like the 3DO or CDI.
And it did. It did, and it ended up going completely successful.
Yeah. Also, so going back to a Donkey Kong Country, this also started off Rareware's golden age.
Yeah, this is what kicked off Rare.
Oh yeah, it sure did, because that's actually the first game where I saw their logo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean that's pretty much when they adopt, because before that they would just say Rare. There was a game Rare actually released only 1 year but prior, in 1993, Battletoads and Battle Maniacs, where they weren't even going by Rare at the time. They just said Rare, and they didn't even have their logo back then.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize. Oh yeah, that was the first game. Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, because I used to thought I knew that I played Rare. I got Rare on Xbox One, and I was like, oh yeah, so they started off with Battletoads before TKC. Nice. So now that we in '94, we want to get to the 5th generation.
Yeah, 95. I mean, of course, it was pretty much the last big hurrah for the Super Nintendo, but it was also when the first official 5th gen consoles, the Sega Saturn and the PlayStation, came out.
That is true. And as for the Sega Saturn, that was actually supposed to come out the same time that the PS was supposed to come out, except that I guess Sega decided to be greedy
and released it in May.
And not just that, but also they decided to and there was a big mistake in the end, raise their price.
Also about the Sega Saturn, heard that Sega of America originally didn't want to release it because of how successful the Genesis was. That's why they made the 32X.
Yeah.
Which I also read that it failed as well.
Yeah, it failed hard. It was a lot of people consider it the worst console of all time, 32X.
I mean that title, since we're in '95, would more go to the Virtual Boy.
Oh yeah, well that's more of a
handheld. Yeah, that one didn't have that. That one really didn't. I was reading about that. That one didn't really have a lot of games.
I know you had the first Mario Tennis.
That is true. That Mario Tennis actually started on that, and then later on it came on the N64.
Let's see. So in '95, also, I believe this was the year Chrono Trigger came out.
Chrono Trigger. Oh, I've heard of that. I've heard that game before. Unfortunately, I just didn't have that.
Yeah, I heard it was around this time with
go
Chrono
ahead.
Trigger games like Final Fantasy 3 or 6 in Japan when RPG started becoming popular in the US.
That's what it is. It's an RPG.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Super Mario RPG. You guys just said that.
And no, we haven't got to Mario RPG yet.
Oh yeah, because that's like probably the full. That's like the most 3D game on SNES. That game is probably the closest thing to like a 3D experience on a 2D console. You know that game was.
Yep.
You had that.
Instead we're talking about 3D on a Super Nintendo, this is also at 95 the year Donkey Kong Country 2 came out.
Yeah.
Although that game came out that game came out way later in the year, like way late.
Like December.
Yeah, like November, December. It came out that late. So basically people were still, and that year alone, people were effectively still playing the original DKC.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the Sega Saturn, man, 95, like, I know Sega Saturn was, even though it kind of came up kind of launched in a bad way, it had Virtual Fighter, I know it had Daytona USA, yeah. But then they had to change, they had to switch Virtual Fighter because it was so buggy. It's like the graphics on Virtual Fighter 1, it's like, you could tell the 3D game was like new because it looked super blocky. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Are these characters human?
Yeah, that console actually introduced a few more newer series to the Sega franchise. And like you said, not just Virtual Fighter. There was also a few others. They would have came later throughout Sega Saturn span. Like they also had like this game called Night, and then they also had this game where they had this zombie game. I forgot the title of that, but that was
House
another new franchise too. Oh, which one?
House of the Dead.
Night for Dead? Is that what's
House
called?
of the Dead. House of the Dead. It's an arcade as well.
But yeah, that was like another new series that was introduced to the Sega franchise, and I believe there was another Virtua series that was also introduced as well. I can't remember the last. I believe it was called Virtua Tennis. I believe, but that was another one that was also introduced on the center.
Do they have Virtua Cop on that console?
Yeah, they did.
All right.
And they also had
the Virtua series on the Genesis, because the Genesis was actually still a thing at that time too.
Yeah.
Also another game, but it was somewhat revolutionary when it came out. The game called Bug.
Oh yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah.
Bug.
It's like pseudo 3D. It's kind of like 2D but 3D perspective type of deal.
Yeah. It pretty much started out the concept of a 2.5D platformers.
Yeah.
I mean, you can also make the case for Donkey Kong Country doing that.
Yeah, you also had Clockwork. That's also another game that's similar vein. So yeah, like the Saturn was more of a 2D console because it was meant to be a 2D. It was meant to be a 2D console, but Sega was scared of Sony PlayStation, so they had to make it 3D, and that's what kind of made the Sega Saturn so complicated to develop for.
So the next year after this, in 1996, this is another candidate for the first modern year in gaming.
Oh yeah, N64, aka the day of my birth.
In Japan.
Yeah, in Japan.
So what would you agree more with, 1991 or 1996 being the first modern?
I would say 96 on it. I would say 96 for sure, because again, the 91 you still it wasn't just 2D, but there was a lot of series that was not there back at that year where they were already there in 96 by then.
Yeah. Because 96 you had an analog stick introduced. You had, you had analog sticks. You had 3D gaming was already around. CD gaming, CD gaming. Memory cards was around.
Yeah, memory cards was there by then, because even in 91, you really didn't have I bet even in 91, you didn't even have a save feature either until like Super Mario World.
Yeah, I would say 95 because I said this in the thread. I know it's kind of go a little bit on topic, but I kind of said this in the thread. Like the PS1 is one reason why I felt like 95 is like the first Y2K era year, because it felt 95 was so revolutionary. Like a lot of things that became relevant in 2000 started like the mid 95, 96. Like,
yeah, not only the PlayStation, but also Windows 95, which pretty much brought computers into people's homes.
yeah, the internet. That's
true.
also when the internet really came out. That's when people first,
Yeah.
like 95. That's when people were really starting to hear about the internet. You know,
And
like,
Internet Explorer and Internet
Yeah.
Explorer bought it too because people were using that browser until Netscape came later.
yeah.
Also,
After this,
so around this time, if we're talking about kiddie games, I don't know if you guys played this, the Humongous Entertainment games.
I
Probably
never
not.
played that.
They're games like Pajama Sam, Freddy Fish, Putt Putt.
Not really.
I think I've heard of Putt Putt. I know if I heard of Putt Putt. I've heard of Putt Putt.
Yeah, these type of games started becoming popular around this time as well, thanks to
like rated early childhood.
yeah.
Oh yeah, those games. Yeah, because I know the 16-bit consoles have like rated those type of games like Mario Preschool. Like it was a Mario Preschool game on SNES.
Yeah, a lot. Actually, based on what you just said, I was just reading that too. That because I go on Wikipedia from time to time, and even back then, I saw a lot of Mario games that were like child, like kiddie related. Like they had like Mario Paint, they had like Mario Cross or something like all that. They had like a whole bunch of lesser known Mario games that people don't even know about today.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys consider this a kiddie game, but would you think that the first Yoshi's Island is considered that too, or do you believe it's a more complex game?
Well, the thing about Yoshi's Island is that even though it has this kiddie sort of art style, it's kind of hard. I mean, if it's hard for me, a little kid is probably going to be screaming their heads off at playing that game. I'd say more at what we get to later. Yoshi's Story is more.
Yeah, more that was definitely a kiddie game. That was definitely a kiddie game because and it's also the first game where Yoshi has his voice that has been used in every game since I think Mario Party 4 or Super Mario Sunshine. Either which one of those two.
Oh yeah, but yeah, the 3D. Yeah, but once you get into like the 3D era, man, that's one game like really. Yeah, like you said, 96 felt more modern. 96 is like a better 96 like a better candidate because by that point, all the fifth gen consoles already came out.
It's also in a 3D platforming with two games, Super Mario 64 and the original Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
That's true. Bandicoot came out that too.
Yeah.
It's also when you had the first, I believe the first Tomb Raider and the first Resident Evil.
That is true. Jeff, Tomb Raider first came out that year, and so did that game as well. And just like I said with Nice, it's also Nice is actually, I don't know if you guys read on your history, but Nice is also the first game to introduce the analog stick, which would be something that would be used like in futuristic consoles.
Yeah, on like instead of being on the bottom of the controller, it's like on the top left control on the controller.
Are you talking about Knights on the Saturn, right?
Right. Yeah. The Sky 3D controller.
At first, I thought also on the Saturn. I thought you were talking about Clockwork Knights, but I own Knights into Dreams.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
On which console?
The Saturn.
Oh, you had the Saturn? Oh, wow. You're one of the few people I know with a Saturn. Had a Saturn.
Yeah. I only have two games for it, though, just Bug and Knights. Also about 96, this is when the first big snowboarding game came out, Cool Borders.
I believe so as well because when I was still using the PlayStation, I had like some demo CDs, very old demo CDs, and there was this game called it was obviously a sequel, but it was called Snowboarders 3, but obviously that one came later. So yeah, if Snowboarders came out in 98, Snowboarders 3 came out in 98, then the original one came out in 96 from the start.
Yep.
Oh right. So wow. So yeah. Once we get to like 97, that's when the 3D game. That's when the fifth generation really like took off. Like that's when you had.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We have some big games coming out. Like we have Mario Kart 64. We had GoldenEye, which a lot of people still thought I believe was a huge revolutionary game.
Yeah, I mean, it pretty much was the first shooter to not be considered a Doom clone. Ever since Doom came out up until GoldenEye, pretty much any shooter that came out what's this game? Like Disruptor or Duke Nukem 3D were always just considered Doom clones. But once GoldenEye came out,
It
Yeah.
blew everybody away. It blew everybody away.
Yeah, 97. You had
Oh,
Final
no.
Fantasy 7, which
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
considers like the best. I consider that the best Final Fantasy game. You had Crash Bandicoot 2. You had
Well,
Kelowna.
speaking of
Yeah, I'm
flip
coming
screen
out right now.
platformers, there's also this game, Croc Legend of the Gobos.
Oh yeah, I heard about that game.
I think that was the first real Mario 64 clone. Well, either Mario or let's see, was it?
His first
Yeah,
like collectathon style platform
yeah.
outside Mario 4.
Yeah. It also came. I don't think you guys heard of this, but also there was a game on the N64 that came out in '97 called Chameleon Twist.
Oh, I think I heard that.
Not familiar with that game.
Yeah.
I heard. No, Turok came on 97. Turok on 64. You had Turok. You had Star Fox 64, which was a huge game.
Another.
Yeah. They introduced the Rumble Pack.
Yeah. And also, 97 was the last SNES. Actually, for the SNES, you had the last curve game for the SNES that came out here.
I mean, I heard the last NES game. I mean, SNES game came out in '98. That was a game called a Port of Frogger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was the last game, and then the other last one was the NBA Live game, I think.
Yeah. Also,
yeah, because I know Genesis last game was Frogger.
Also, this is pretty much the era Sega was on. I mean, it's been on this way for a while now, but Sega really set themselves on a collision course. This in '97. That's when
that's when
made the statement that the Saturn is not our future.
That is correct. That's it. And they're figuring that out when their most major release was supposed to be out, and they ended up canceling it in the end because it was just too frustrating to finish the whole thing.
Oh, you're talking about Sonic Extreme?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the last year for the Saturn for sure. You had last game for the Saturn. One last game for the Saturn was like Panzer Dragoon 3. I believe that was like the last hurrah for the Saturn before before we got discontinued in the States. Whoa. There you go. Oh.
Sorry, that was my cousin. I can still talk.
All right.
But yeah, back to that game. I don't know what game were you guys talking about.
Hurrah for Saturn before it got discontinued.
We're still talking about the last Sega game. I mean, the Saturn game.
We were talking about Sonic Extreme, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was supposed to be a game that was supposed to be out doing, but because there was so much work and just kept changing and changing, they got so frustrated that they had just canceled the game altogether, which practically costed their whole future console because that was supposed to be the first major Sonic title, and they did not have any at that time. This before Sonic Adventure came out.
Yeah. I
mean, they tried a bit with Sonic 3D Blast. They poured it on both the Genesis and the Saturn, but I mean that was a very desperate
but that wasn't.
And you had Sonic R Racer, which a lot of people said that was a bad side game.
So yeah, in place of Sonic Extreme, they decided to just release a compilation which was called Sonic Jam.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Sonic Jam. Yeah,
which was actually 3D, but obviously you couldn't do a lot with it because it was just a compilation game. But they probably got that right with that whole thing before they did it with Sonic Adventure.
Yeah, the Saturn really was. The Saturn was. I can see why we created Wii to the Saturn because the Saturn, it didn't have a Sonic. It didn't have a proper Sonic game. So the Wii didn't have a proper Metroid. Well, I didn't have a Metroid game at all, actually.
One last game I want to talk about for a '97, Diddy Kong Racing.
Oh yeah,
that was another. I'm not sure if you can call this revolutionary, but it was like another fun game I had played back then too.
Yeah, I mean it was the first game that had a Banjo and Conquer in it.
Sure did, and I believe those are the only, and I believe those two characters have not appeared in almost most of these games. I mean, Banjo possibly, but not Conquer.
Yeah.
Does it look like your room?
Yeah, because Diddy Kong Racing was also the first kart racer to like, we can like fly and hoverboard and stuff like that.
Like your room.
Um,
That looks like your room.
nerdy.
This looks like your room.
No, it's not. Uncle,
Why are you in there?
because I'm hiding from you. I'm hiding from you.
Uh,
No, you can't do that.
I sure can. I'm your second year older person, you know.
oh, that's so cute.
Aw.
Yeah, this is my second cousin. I'm watching them right now.
Oh, nerdy gamer, you're such a nice guy.
I sure am.
So,
They've
yeah, so
gotten
now
used
let's
to it.
get
So you want to get to
let's get
98?
to 1998. One of the best years in gaming. Well,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of classics. The biggest one that came out, although I did not have it, was Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. There's also the year the first Metal Gear Solid game came out. The first Spyro game came out. Banjo-Kazooie
True
came
that.
out.
True.
Half-Life on the PCs.
True.
No, get a baby wipe. Where's
You
the baby
had-
wipe? Get in the room. Look for him. Murphy, find the baby wipe. Make sure they don't mess that.
Got it.
You had what else? came out that year? You had Pokemon Red and Blue, the first Pokemon game that came out of the States.
Wasn't this when
Yeah.
Pokemon started becoming a phenomenon with the kids?
Well, I think. Well, Pokemon really came big in '99, but like in '98, that's when the anime came out. That's when the card game came out. Pokemon was like the first anime franchise that to come out like guns blazing. They came with the game, the anime, and the card game all at the same time.
Like Pokemon, I think is somewhat, but May would agree, is the quintessential millennial game.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
When it comes to children, absolutely.
it
Yeah.
is.
I mean-
Like the fact that the fact that Pokemon's still trying to cater to the Gen 1 generation shows that how much millennials support Pokemon.
Yeah, same way I would
In the
say
late
Pac-Man is for Gen X and how Roblox is for Gen Z.
Yeah. Even though Roblox came out in 06, but like a lot of people, they didn't really get dates like the 2010s.
Yeah.
Roblox. That's kind of I was shocked because I've never heard nobody my age talk about Roblox. Like,
Yeah.
always when I used to hear people talk about Roblox, always like people that are like born in 2005 and stuff like that.
Yeah, so 98. No, this is pretty much the only full year when it was just the PlayStation and N64 going along.
That's correct. Because by that year, the Center was practically dead, and then the Sega was ready to move on to the next console, which would obviously be the Dreamcast, but it wouldn't be out for a whole another year or so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
98 Sega was pretty much dead. You had nothing for Sega in 98.
It's also surprised here. Banjo-Kazooie, I think, was the only rare game. Even it's a very big game. It seems to be the only rare game released in '98.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
Also,
didn't really-
Also, the best Crash Bandicoot game came out that year, at least in my
Oh, yeah,
opinion.
3. Oh, yeah, 3. Yeah. Yeah, that. You had,
Spyro.
you had Spyro. You had Tekken 3. One of the. You had Tekken 3, the game of the year. And
Also,
another,
the Game Boy Color came out.
oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that
it
too.
sure did.
And you had the Game Shock for the PS1 came out that year. The
Yeah.
DualShock.
And it was a cheap.
So,
It was an improvement of the Game Genie.
yeah, you had the DualShock 1 that came out that year. When the PlayStation code, PlayStation what we know now today started in '98.
Yeah.
PlayStation is what we know as, because like before it was the basic PlayStation controller with no sticks. It didn't have the dual analog.
Yeah.
The dual, and that is true. The dual analog was that. I mean, while the dual analog was the first to have for the PlayStation, you're right. It was DualShock that really changed everything because the dual analog I think still has some problems with it back then, guys. I think.
Yeah.
So we were talking about a snowboarding games. 1080 came out this year.
Oh yeah, sure did. I was about to say that. Yeah.
I mean, it's aged way better than Cool Borders has.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the one with the
Coming to
kids?
that
School
from
borders?
Coming to that from
Is that the one with the kids?
Or-
No, that's I believe that's Snowboard Kids.
Oh
on the
yeah.
N64.
What?
Anyway,
Yeah, Cool Borders was a PlayStation exclusive.
yeah. Yeah, 98 was pretty. Yeah, 98 was pretty revolutionary.
What?
You know, I mean, that's when N64. That's when a lot of people say N64 was at its peak in '98.
Yeah, I mean its prime years were from a 96 to 01, so 98 and 99 would be pretty much at the
Yeah.
exact center.
Yeah, that's when people say that got my N64 around that time. There's a video on YouTube where kids were getting N64 on Christmas '98.
Mama,
Yeah,
what?
that's become a viral sensation.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh my God, it's N64."
Yeah. So you want to get into 99 since we just
Oh yes, one more year before the millennium.
He's already there?
One more time. Oh, he's probably.
Mm-hmm. One of the biggest years, one of the biggest games of that year was Super Smash.
Oh
Oh,
yeah. That came out at the
Definitely.
very beginning of that year actually.
Oh, I
Super-
didn't realize how big the first Smash was because I never hear because I used to hear people talk about Melee and but I never hear people talk about the first one until 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's probably because Melee added so much more stuff, but I also hear a lot of people complaining about how the original Smash may have not aged too well, but yeah, it was very big for its time. I think it's the fourth best-selling N64 game.
And
Oh yeah. So
Oh yeah,
99.
it really was. It was. I mean, I didn't unfortunately see the iconic commercial that it had came with it. But oh man, when I had that game, I had so much fun, and I almost had 100% completion. But the problem is, I was stuck on getting the character and did not know how to get him for some reason. And it wasn't until a few years later I found out where I had to look up online how to get him or who it was at that time because everything, even the special level on that. I had everything on the original Super Smash except for Ness until like a few years later.
Oh, Ness. Yeah.
Yeah, I
He was
didn't know
from
who that
Earthbound.
was. I was wondering who it was. I was wondering who was the bottom character next under a Luigi, but I didn't know who it was until a few years later because they showed a question mark obviously, and it's all scrambled. So, but like I said, it wasn't until a few years later when I figured out that I found out Ness. Because I did not know, and like I said again, I did not know how to get that character because I didn't know what to do. Like I tried everything to how to get that character, and I still couldn't find a key until a few years later where I looked online and said you had to play on normal with 3 lives.
Also in 1999, the year the first Mario Party came out.
Hell yeah, I did. I mean, I didn't play that game until a little later, but yeah, that game was so brutal. I didn't realize that game actually had a lawsuit.
Oh, was it something about because I heard the problem was something about the joystick or something or moving your hand?
The joystick was kind of the joystick was at that time was so hard that, and then because you had the 6-spinning games, and when people were playing those games, I guess when they were spinning the control stick a little like the way it should have been, it was kind of going so slow, so they were practically losing all the mini games that they were supposed to use it on. And then when they started to use it with their hand, it's when they started getting like blisters. And I wasn't even aware of that at all until I looked at the game's history and it said like, damn, not a lawsuit? Shoot, I didn't realize. And because of that lawsuit, the company had to provide gloves. They had to not only provide gloves, but they also had to no longer put 6 spinning games in there as well. Like they practically, so since every game says Mario Party 2. They no longer have had 6 spinning games.
Oh yeah. 99. What other games? Oh no, Pokemon Yellow came back. Yeah, Pokemon Yellow.
Yeah, and there's a lot of iconic games I can think about. Oh, so Caliber came out.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys know
Dreamcast.
what that is.
Yeah, the
It came out,
Dreamcast.
yeah, it came out the Dreamcast. Oh, Pac-Man World came out. That was another iconic game because it was
Spyro.
celebrating the anniversary
Spyro
of
2.
the Namco character, and as well as the fact you also had this was also the same year Sega Sonic Adventure came out, which was like the first 3 Sonic game.
Yeah.
You
Also,
had
They
that.
finally introduced Sonic's into a new 3D world.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the first Tony Hawk's
And it's
Pro
also
Skater
and
game.
right. Yes,
Oh,
true.
Tony Hawk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pro Skater. That was I mean, I didn't have that game until way later, but I believe that was probably another a revolutionary game at some point. And then Sega also introduced more series. Like they also had like Crazy Taxi.
Oh
They
yeah.
had this game with this Japanese character. I don't know the exact name for it, but it also introduced him too. And it also used to do another few other series. Yes,
That came in 2000.
That was. Oh, it did. Oh,
Yeah,
well,
it came in
I
2000.
thought, well, in Japan, didn't it come out in Japan that year, or did it come out?
I think it came out in Japan in '99.
Yeah.
Well, that's still kind of true though, but still.
Yeah, but also that year you also had 99 had some classics, man. You had the
Season-
WWF,
Spyro too.
WrestleMania 2000. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, one more game out in '99 was a Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that game, and I also loved how that game had that DK rap. Like my mom and I, we were like, even I think my sister at that time when it came out, we would all like sometimes sing to the DK rap.
It's
Yeah.
DK. Oh yeah, they said it's DK. Oh yeah, DK song go hard. Donkey.
Yeah, the other
Yeah.
one that was released that year was a Jet Force Gemini.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't have that game either, but I think I may have heard it when it first came out. I think.
Yeah. So getting into a 2000.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Hey, what else came?
Oh,
Isn't
man.
that Cypher Filter?
Another revolutionary. So.
You know, also had Final Fantasy 8 came 99. Yes, 99 has some classics.
Oh yeah, Final. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's another. Those are some other games that we didn't talk about. Like in '97, you had Final Fantasy 7, and just like you said, Mario, Final Fantasy 8 came out in '99, and then in 2000 it would be Final Fantasy 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2000. Yeah, 2000. Man. Yeah,
And you
2000.
got a Perfect Dark. It came out, I believe, early in that year.
New Millennium. Let's go. Oh yes.
Oh yeah, a lot of good games came out that year. Like the first one that comes to mind when I think of that year, what is a lot obviously, but one of the first few that come to mind is Mario Tennis. Like another new Mario Tennis came out.
Yeah, you had Kirby 64 that came that year, and
Hell yeah.
you had Banjo Tooie.
Mhm.
You had
You also had Perfect Dark.
You had Spider-Man Spider-Man that came out.
Oh, Spider-Man.
And then the biggest thing of all, the PS2.
Oh yeah, PS2.
Oh, yeah.
2000. You also had No Mercy, one of the best wrestling games. WWF No Mercy.
Mhm. Mhm.
SmackDown 2. Yeah.
The sequel, the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, that came out that year.
You had.
You mentioned the PS2. Heard that's really what sort of boosted DVDs.
That
Yeah,
is true because it was the first console to have the built-in DVD player.
I
And
mean,
that's how DVDs ended up becoming popular in the first place. But that it was thanks to the PS2 because of that built-in thing.
DVD player.
Yeah, I mean, it was first marketed as a DVD
Mhm.
player, and I think that's what may have helped it become the best-selling console, even to this day. I mean, no other console, be it the Wii or a DS or what have you, has surpassed it yet.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because
Yeah.
I mean, people play home consoles more compared to handheld.
Oh yeah. Since we talk about PS2, Midnight Club came out that year.
Oh yes, the
The
original
first
Midnight Club.
game came out that year.
That
Also,
game,
the first
you're
SSX
right.
game.
Oh, it did? Came in 2000? Don't came in 2001.
No, the first SSX came out in 2000. Then the Tricky came out in 2001. Then 3 came out in 2003.
Oh, really? Oh, it skipped a year. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then you have another major, and then you have another
what
game
a-
that came out that year, Majora's Mask. I didn't have that game either, but that came out that year too.
Oh yeah, true.
So going into 2001, I believe it came out very early that year, probably 2000 in Japan. Paper Mario.
Hell
Oh,
yeah!
yeah.
I
Oh
love
yeah,
that
forgot.
game.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, y'all forgot one game. Oh, Nerd Gamer. You forgot this game. Pokemon Gold and Silver came in 2000. Gold and Silver.
And Pokemon Stadium. Don't
Second
forget
generation.
that game too.
And what year did
And then
what year? Speaking of Pokemon, did this Pokemon pinball game came out?
I believe it came out in '99 because that's when I remember seeing like the date for it later on. It was like '99, even though I didn't get that game for later.
Yeah, that's actually the first Pokemon game I ever like. I tried getting into the Pokemon series, but the only one I was really into was a Poke Pinball.
Oh, I had that. Like I said, I had that game too. I had so much fun, but but it was like irritating me because I could never get most of the Pokemon. I was able to get some of them, but not a lot.
Pokemon Pinball? What's
Yeah.
that? What's on that GBA? What's that? Game Boy Advance?
It was on the game. Yeah, it was on the GBC.
Oh, Game Boy Color. Oh. 'Cause I know there's a Pokemon Pinball and Game Boy Advance one with like Hoenn, Pokemon.
I wasn't aware that there was another pinball game on the van.
Yeah, because I remember seeing that game a lot at GameStop back in the like 2000s.
Oh, I'm not sure about the history, but when you guys think GameStop became a thing? Because I don't remember seeing it until probably like later in the 2000s.
Same here. I know it used to be EB Games before I moved to Canada. I remember
Because all the stores I went to buy my games, it was either at Kmart,
Yeah,
it
for
was
me,
at
it was
Toys
at
R Us,
Hollywood
and some others.
Video.
for me it was Toys R Us.
Video.
For me it was Toys R Us. Toys R Us and Walmart. I know GameStop. I remember EB Games. I remember EB Games was when they brought me to Canada. It was here in the States. Yeah.
Whose mic is that?
But yeah, 2001. Also, I had the GameCube and Xbox came out. First true 16 year.
We're at 2001, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of revolutionary games. The biggest one, Halo. I know you guys said Paper Mario. Another bigger one that came out, GTA 3, and I believe you were also supposed to say Conker's Bad Fur Day. I didn't have that game, but
I played that.
I didn't have that game at all, but I heard about it. So
Yeah, imagine game I gave as a kid. He was saying all these bad words.
Yeah.
and you're honestly, I'm not sure if there's another achievement for this game, but I believe it was the first Nintendo game to be rated M. I think, but I'm not totally sure if that's correct. But I believe it was the first one to be rated M.
I mean, I know there were games on Nintendo consoles that were rated M before.
But that's like the first.
I mean, if you're talking about,
probably like first party. I believe that was the first Nintendo first party going to be rated M, because all the other ones that were rated M on Nintendo were like third party.
Third party.
Perfect Dark
Yeah.
was rated M.
Which one?
Perfect Dark. That game was rated M.
Oh yeah. I kind of forgot about that. I mean, I didn't have that game either, so I wasn't aware that was also rated M.
Oh yeah, Sonic Adventure 2, another classic.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
It introduced Shadow as Sonic's newer rival, where now Knuckles is now replaced as a friendly character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really
2001. That was also the last
I mean,
around.
Sonic Adventure 2 was the last big roar for the Dreamcast before it was discontinued.
Yeah.
Practically, yeah, and it celebrated the anniversary of Sonic.
Yeah. And so you guys brought up the Xbox earlier. I heard that they did a big event in New York City to celebrate the launch of the Xbox, and I heard that was the first big celebration in New York City after 9/11. That's what I heard from this user Adam Korlick.
I thought the original Xbox launch was the first one. The original Xbox launch.
Xbox was first, actually, because it came, and I was looking at the dates, and it came out 3 days before the GameCube.
Yeah. Also,
another major release for Nintendo. Not only the second Super Smash, but it also had Luigi's Mansion.
Oh yeah.
And it has Super Monkey Ball, one of my favorite games. Super Monkey Ball 1.
Yeah, that was another revolutionary game.
Also, when they came out for the PS2, Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy.
I already cleaned it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you guys played that game?
Oh no. What about you?
Have you, Nerdy?
What happened?
Have you played Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy?
I don't think I played. I played the first one a little bit, but not by much. Not by much compared to the second and third.
Yeah, that's when 2001 was also when the PS2's platformer trio. Well, I mean, the first one, Jak started out. The others, Ratchet and Sly Cooper, would start in 2002.
Yeah, the PS2. You know what interesting about 2001 though? The PS2 was still kind of hard to find in 2001. Like a lot of people say the PS2 came in 2002, even though it came in 2000. Like a lot of people say they had their first PS2 in 2002 because
Wait, say that again.
a lot of people say
Oh,
they got the first PS2 in 2002 because it was so hard to find. Like months after it came out in '01, like it was so rare to find a PS2 in like '01 because it sold so much during launch. I think because Sony didn't ship a lot of PlayStation 2s in 2000. Captain.
all right. So you guys want to get into 2002?
Oh yeah, 2002. Yes, the first year where I got into movies.
I mean, you were 6 that year.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a huge year for that was another huge year for games. Like you had Vice City, you had the sequel to no one I mean not yet. Oh is it and then you said Spy Cooper and then what was the other one? Ratchet and
Ratchet
Clank.
and Clank.
And then you and this is also when Super Mario Sunshine came out.
oh yes, that's what I'm about to say. Super Mario Sunshine. That's like probably one of the most memorable year games of 2002.
And speaking of that same game as well as Luigi Mansion, they're both the two games that introduced the style of Mario games that is shown today. If you look at those two games, it started the style that we see in the games today.
Super Mario Sunshine, I believe, was the first Mario game to not be a launch title. At least for
That
the
is
Navy.
true. It wasn't. That would have been the Luigi Mansion.
Yeah, because Mario, because every Nintendo console up to that point had a Mario game at launch. You know, NES, Super Mario Bros, SNES, and Super Mario World, S4, Mario 64. So GameCube was like the original, kind of started the trend of not launching a Mario game.
Yeah, and I know we haven't got there yet either, but yeah, the Wii did the same thing too. Like the first Mario Galaxy was not the first launch title. That game came out a little later.
It came out a whole year later.
Yeah.
And then the Wii U, there was no Mario. It was Super Mario Bros, but it wasn't really a mainline Mario game.
that was also not another launch title either. So yeah, you could say the GameCube started that trend.
And then the Switch
Continue
that trend because there was no Mario game for launch on Switch.
That is true. Yeah, you could say that the GameCube is the first console to not have a Mario launch title compared to the previous three.
And also another big thing that happened in 2002, the Wavebird. The Wavebird. For those who don't know, if you don't know what the Wavebird is, that's the first wireless controller. It's like the first.
Oh, I think I've heard of it before. My friend had it. My friend had that wasn't it gray?
Yeah, I think.
Oh yeah,
my friend had that back then. I mean, I didn't have it myself, but my friend did.
I don't know anybody had that.
One game I forgot to bring out for 2000, but its expansion packs continued into 2002 and 2003. So I think we have here The Sims.
Oh yeah,
The Sims. Oh yes, The Sims. Rainbow's favorite game.
Yeah, my sister was my older sister, born in 1990. She was huge into that series back during that time. Like she had all the expansion packs.
Oh really?
Damn, really?
Yeah. So 2002, I believe, was when Unleashed came out.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember in 2002, we had the Game Boy e-reader, the Game Boy, what do you call it, reader, e-reader, something like that.
Oh, that reminds me. Animal Crossing also started in 2002. I mean,
Yeah.
in 2000,
What started?
Animal Crossing.
Oh yes. Not just Animal Crossing. And then this was actually released earlier as well as Pikmin. I think that was another Nintendo series that was introduced.
Yeah, it came out 01. Yeah, it came out 01. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know that. But I'm saying that Pikmin was another game that was also introduced to the Nintendo series as a franchise.
Yeah, 02 also had, let's see, what about original Xbox? Had Jet Set Radio for the original Xbox. Jet Set Radio Future.
Oh,
Yeah, Jet Set Radio. Actually, I was actually gonna mention that for 2000. That was the first. That was the year the first one came out, and then the future one came out in 02.
And then also had Deadlock 3 for 2002, one of my favorite Xbox.
the Xbox was pretty much the original Xbox was in many ways a continuation of the Dreamcast because obviously Sega had the best relationship with Microsoft since they really didn't have any competition with them, unlike with Sony and Nintendo.
That is true. You're right, Captain. You're right. Actually, if you think about it, I did read about the Xbox, and it does seem like it was a spiritual successor to Sega.
Yep.
It was
Like
because
they practically took their place because they had a good relationship, and Sega was dying, and now I guess Microsoft decided to step up to the plate and decided to compete against Nintendo and Sony.
Yep.
yeah, Microsoft had the the Dreamcast also used Windows software
Yep.
for those.
All that, yeah, that too.
So yeah, you just knew that Axel was working up something, you know,
Yeah.
because the
And you
Dreamcast.
also have to and you also have to think about the Xbox look. I mean, not the color, but the way that the controller looks. Have you noticed that all the buttons are colored? That's how the Dreamcast was. I mean, the Super Nintendo also had the colors like that too, but the Dreamcast also had like the green, yellow, blue, and red.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. And remember, the first Xbox controller, Duke controller, was about
And
the
the
same size
fact
as
that
Dreamcast.
and the fact that the Dreamcast ports, the Xbox ports are the same as the Dreamcast. I don't know if have you guys noticed that?
Yeah, I didn't notice that until
Yeah.
the game told me. Yeah, Drake. I didn't realize how similar those consoles were until years later. I was like, wow. But Dreamcast ended I was so young when Dreamcast ended. But like I remember
Right.
I remember how the
sorry.
Dreamcast looked. I remember how the Dreamcast looked. I always compared to the N64 controller because the candy shell buttons. But then I saw the Xbox controller. Then I saw how the Xbox and Dreamcast had similar libraries. I was like, oh wow, that is true. The Xbox was continuation of the Dreamcast.
And then another thing you also noticed is that I think because of Sega dying and Xbox taking its place, have you noticed that most of the Sega games, all the sequels that were supposed to come out on the Dreamcast, all ended up coming on the Xbox?
Yeah.
Shenmue
Crazy
2.
Taxi 2, Shenmue 2.
Yeah, all the sequels from the Dreamcast all came down the Xbox later on.
Yeah. 2002.
As well as the game, as well as the GameCube. Like the only ones that came on the GameCube. Well, these weren't really sequels, but they were like the Sega franchises. The ones that came on the GameCube later on, after Sega died, was like Super Monkey Ball, like you guys said, and another one, Billy Hatcher. Although that one came out a whole another year or so.
So I believe they exclusively released Sonic games on the GameCube until 04. I believe that was because the GameCube was more of a kiddie-geared console, while the Xbox was a bit more mature.
True.
That is true. The
GameCube has something with the games. So GameCube, a lot of people say GameCube's kiddie. A lot of people say GameCube started the whole Nintendo. The reason why a lot of like older gamers turn Nintendo, but the GameCube has some mature games. Like you have a lot of teen games.
Yeah, the Resident Evil series was exclusive to the GameCube for a bit. They also had what's this game something Deadly Night or something, Eternal Night.
Oh shit!
Oh dang!
Yeah.
I know they had Silent something. What's another Nintendo emulated exclusive? I forgot what it's called. Eternal Darkness. Yeah, they had that.
Oh yeah,
and then you also had BMX Triple X. That was also another M-rated game, I think.
Oh yeah, that game was. I think that game, if you had cheat code, you could like see the girls naked. I was like, whoa. Yeah.
You know what's funny about the sixth generation? I mean, you know what's funny about the sixth generation? A lot of people actually don't know this, but there's two things. Now looking back, I've noticed that started with it. I don't know if you guys have were aware of this too, but when I made that post about where I forgot what the thread name, but there was a thread about the video games, about the changers or something, regarding the 2000s, and I was thinking about the sixth generation. And I've noticed that the sixth generation had two different things compared to previous. Like, have you guys noticed that starting with the sixth generation, there was a lot more, like, not just M-rated games. Have you guys noticed there was a lot more mature games compared to previous eras where there was like a lot more E for everyone games?
Yeah.
That's something I've actually noticed, even with the GameCube. Like I understand that, like you guys said, Nintendo's always going to steer. It's gonna always be with the kids and all that, and then Sony and Microsoft they'll go towards the older people. But I've noticed that since the sixth generation time, is that there's been more games that are rated T and M compared to like E, and it's just that's something I've just noticed over the years. Like there's way more T and M rated games.
It's mainly I think they were sort of chasing the main market because as you know, people born in the 80s and 90s are a huge demographic. I mean 1990 I think is one of the biggest years for births.
Right.
For game, especially for like gaming, because like a lot of channels I watch on YouTube, were born around that time, the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. That basically the core millennial age bracket because like when I started watching gaming content on YouTube, a lot of people were like born in the early 90s, late 80s. They were like hard. There was nobody I knew that was the youngest person I saw on YouTube at the time that was into game was like 93, and then like around like then up to like a few years up to like say like 2016, 2017. That's when I started seeing more people like my age older that are talking about like video games, like the video game articles and stuff. You know, so it is interesting to see that how the millennial generation is like it's still the game generation, like millennials and even Gen Xers. Like there are a whole lot of Gen Xers, on YouTube that talk about gaming.
So, anyways, you guys want to get into 2003?
Oh yeah.
I would like to get in that year too, but I also wanted to add the other thing I've noticed about starting with the sixth generation. Like I said again, I don't know if you guys picked up on this either, but I've noticed that since the start of the sixth generation, there had been less, and I mean less exclusive games compared to previous eras. Because I don't know, have you noticed that each console, even the Xbox and PlayStation, all 4 consoles had their own exclusive characters. Where now, except for Nintendo, each character now is on all these other consoles.
Yeah, sure. Oh yeah, but like 2002 Xbox Live, nobody mentioned that. Yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, you're right. You're right. Xbox Live was I would say it was a huge deal, but it wasn't like, it was still like a small. It was still practically getting started. So it wouldn't become this huge thing until probably a few years later with Halo 2.
Yeah, but 2002 was Xbox Live definitely was like the original Xbox definitely paved the way for like online gaming.
Oh yeah, it did.
Yeah, it definitely did. It made online gaming mainstream.
Yep, except you needed a wired cable to actually play online.
And then once 360 came out, online gaming pretty much became standard in gaming.
That is true. Except again, you still needed those wired cables, unless you were fortunate enough to have those wireless cables. That wireless thing.
About the Xbox, actually, it came out in 01, but actually the cable they plugged in, it used a broadband modem.
And luckily for people, broadband was starting to rise too, I think.
Yeah. Especially around like 03, 04. 05, like mid 2000s. That's when broadband like just took over dial up.
I mean, heard it was in somewhere in mid to late 2004 when the adoption rate surpassed it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, getting into 2003, what was it in early or late 2003 when the GBA SP came out?
It was in mid 2003. It was like in spring of 03. It's like early 03, yeah. It came out I think it came out April 23rd, 2003. I'm not sure.
So I heard that was a pretty groundbreaking console back then.
Yeah, it was. I mean, consider the fact that GBSP was like the first handheld to not require batteries. That was pretty a step forward in handheld gaming.
Well, plus the front light.
Oh yeah, and then, that came out 05. And then you also had
wasn't it backlit though in 03? The SP didn't have a backlit screen.
Hold on.
Isn't it also the first handheld that now had a charger or something?
Yeah.
I mean, I never had it, but one of my friends did. She had the GBA SP.
I mean, it was the first one to have be chargeable and the first mainstream one to have a backlight. Well, it was mainly a front light, but for the screen.
And it was also, I mean, I don't know if this was already covered in the podcast, but the GBA, not just the SP, but the GBA series all by itself, it was the first, I think, handheld where you can actually link up to a home console and play like certain games or like trade. Like I said, I know the Game Boy Color did with the N64, but the GBA could have done a lot more with the GameCube compared to what the GBC could do with the N64.
Also, speaking about this, the Game Boy player where you could play the Game Boy Advance games on the screen. Even though this tour is started with the Super Nintendo with the Super Game Boy, but the Game Boy player, or I mean, it allowed you not only to play Game Boy Advance games, but also the original in color.
That's what I see. That's what I mean. It seemed like the GPA was. Well, I mean, obviously they called it advanced for a reason, but it did a lot. It could do a lot more than what the GBC could do with the N64. That's what I mean. It had really changed a lot in the last few years between that frame.
So what other games? What games? 2003.
Oh, there's a lot. I mean, there's also a few that I played that I don't know if you or Mario ever played, but there was this game called Def Jam Vendetta. I had so much fun with that game. It was rated T for teen, but it was like a game where it featured a lot. It was a fighting game like WWE, but unlike that game, it featured like your typical. It featured a lot of celebrities.
Oh,
Like, and not just celebrities, but even rappers. So what I mean by that, and it also featured a lot of like African American characters. And I believe it was like one of the first few games to have like a lot more compared to your typical character, all that. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with that game.
see, it also came out Jak 2 and Ratchet and Clank.
Yes, yes, sir. And this was the game that I finally did play, although not when it came out, but later on. But I had so much fun with Jak 2. I remember playing this in the beginning because my cousin had let me use it for a second, and I had so much fun. But I unfortunately could not get 100% because there were certain things that was kind of hard to obtain. But I was able to beat the game though, just not get 100% completion though.
So sorry about that. My dogs are barking.
That's all good. Mine do that from time to time.
Yeah.
Another game that comes to mind by that year is True Crime.
Let's see. Have you also played a SSX3?
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah. Yeah, so SSX3 and on the Xbox, AMP2 came out, and they were big steps for snowboarding games, and they've aged very well. They still look very realistic to this day.
Oh, you're talking about SSX, right?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't unfortunately have any of those games, but I wasn't aware that they aged that well, though. Another series that was also made by that same company, EA Sports Big, was also a series called NBA Street. I don't know if you've heard of that series, but I used to play those games back then, and I don't know, just like SSX, if they aged well too. But yeah, that was another company. That was another series that was made by that company.
And didn't Tony Hawk game also come out this year?
Yes, Underground, but I didn't play that game until a little later too. But I had so much fun with that game. So
yeah,
and it was also the first game where you can actually get off your skateboard. In the Pro Skater series, you could not do that.
Yeah. So it seemed like a pretty big year for a sporting games, 2003.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There was I believe this is like the first. Yeah, there's actually a lot of sporting games that came out that year. Although a lot of them were probably less known. Like they had some deer hunting games, and then you also had your typical sports like Madden NFL, NBA Live, and they also had the NHL. What happened?
Any Mario sports?
Yes, actually, a Mario Sport game did come out that year. The newest one, I mean, actually, two would actually be this year because a lot of people kind of forget that despite Mario Kart having a lot more than the others, it's actually considered a sports game because racing is sports anyway. But besides that one coming out, the second Mario Golf game came out that year too.
Let's see. Is Mario there?
Can you see? I don't think I can hear him. Hello, Mario, you there?
Still his microphone.
See if he's there. Is his microphone on mute?
It's not on mute.
Oh, that's weird because like I said, I don't hear him, so I don't know where he's at. He probably had to go take care of something. So he should
I'm
be back.
I'm back.
Oh, see, I knew he'd be back.
Yeah, so yeah,
We
kind of
talked,
miss.
we talked a bit about it. We just brought up at 2003. If you want to bring something up about that year.
Oh man, did any of you guys mention Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire? That was a big 2003 game. I mean,
And as well as Coliseum, even though I didn't really like that
that
game.
came out 04. That came out 04. So
Well, Coliseum?
yeah, came out 04.
I could have sworn I thought it came in 03 because I remember my friend having it, I think.
Oh, it came out 04 because I remember reading about it in 04.
Oh, okay, well, okay, my
Yeah.
bad. I mean, my friend had it, so I didn't have it myself, but my friend did though. So
And
my
also that
bad if I
was
got the years mixed up.
that's also when the GameCube was dropped its price to $100. I think it was 100 or 200. It really was cheap by 2003. That's when the Platinum GameCube came out,
Yeah.
and you
I know
had
they originally released it in just a indigo and black.
yeah, and Soul Calibur 2. Who mentioned that game?
Yeah. Well, we didn't. I didn't mention it yet, but that was actually another game that, like you said, came out that year, and it was also I wouldn't call it Ruby National at all, but it was another good game for its time because it introduced it, like 3 exclusive characters to each console. Like for GameCube, they had Link. For Xbox, they had Spawn, and for PlayStation, they had a Tekken character, but I'm already forgetting his name now.
And you have Zelda Wind Waker.
Oh,
Hell yeah!
like a lot of people I heard gave that game a lot of crap back in that day, but now they consider it one of the best aged Zelda games because of its art style.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate I didn't get to play that game either because I mean, because for myself, when it came to the like Nintendo games, the only series I really had over the years was practically Mario. All the other series, except for very few, I didn't really have all those. So like when it comes to like Zelda games, like I hear that Wind Waker was really good, but like I said again, just like Ocarina of Time and even Majora's Mask, I did not have any of those games unfortunately. So
dang. Well, same here. The first Zelda game I owned was actually the HD version of Wind Waker. So yeah, I kind of missed out on the Zelda hype myself. Yeah.
So when you get into 2004, heard that was one of the best years of at
Sixth
least
generation.
Yeah,
it was like the best year of Sixth Generation overall. Yeah, there's a lot of games.
Oh yeah,
talk about like
game I forgot to mention 03. Double Dash. Anybody mention that game?
yeah.
Which one?
Double Dash, Mario Kart Double Dash. One of the best games on the GameCube. Yeah.
And there were some other games that came out that year too. I mean, I'm not sure they probably were like they have like replay value, but they also had that year Kirby Air Ride. And for GameCube, and then they, like I said, they had Billy Hatcher for that year on the GameCube, and then there's a lot of other games I remember playing on PlayStation that year too. I just don't exactly remember the names or all of that stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, now we in 04.
But yeah. Oh yeah, 04, the biggest one of all for the Sixth Generation, and the biggest game that came to mind, and just like you guys said with Xbox Live, Halo 2. That's the game where like online gamer really well. I mean, it didn't get much bigger until the Modern Warfare series came out, but that was one of the major games that people were playing online for.
Also, the biggest game of 2004, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Oh yeah.
Oh, only for PS2 though. The game. I mean, not GameCube. The Xbox version didn't come out till the next year, but yes. But for that one particularly, I mean, yes. Only the PS2 version came out that year, but for me, I definitely prefer the Xbox version more because cause my cousin had the PS2 one, and it seems like there were certain things you could not do on that one that you could do on the Xbox one.
One thing I find fascinating about San Andreas is that it's 90s based. So this must have been one of the first tastes of 90s nostalgia.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
Early 90s, and it came out 04.
I mean, it took place in 92. So this is the early 90s, but back during the grunge movement and the G-Funk.
And that was when LA was like really gang oriented.
Yeah, that's when the riots happened. The Rodney King riots.
Yeah. Another thing about 04, well, you mentioned Coliseum earlier, Nerdy. Yeah, that came out 04. 04 also had Pikmin 2. You had
Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I would have loved to have that game, but I didn't. I was never able to get it. I heard it was really good though.
Pokemon Leaf Green and Fire Red, another Pokemon game. The first remake, Pokemon remake that came out here. And then you had what else?
All three of the PlayStation platformer series released installments in that year. You had a Jak 3, you had Sly 2, and you had Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal.
Nice.
And then wasn't there another Crash game that came out too?
Twinsanity?
Oh well, yeah. Was that the one that came out that year?
Yeah.
Oh, because I remember. I think I remember seeing. I don't remember seeing the commercial, but I remember like reading that there like a Crash game came out in 2004 that year too. But yeah, I didn't honestly have that one as well. But and then another game, another major game that comes to me. I'm not sure if Mario remembers this, but I had so much fun with this game, even much more better than the first. But Dev Jam Fight for New York, I had so much fun with that game.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I was just knocking out people. It was more mature compared to the first, but there was a lot of stuff you can do. Like you can like instead of fighting in rings, you would be fighting on anything, and you could pick up weapons and just beat people up.
Oh yeah, you had all the rappers at the time.
Yeah.
You had like Little John, you had Little Chris, you had Little Kim, you had Kimura Lee.
Yeah,
you had,
so many like celebrities. That's why I was just telling Captain that just in 03, Def Jam Vendetta, the first one.
One game I forgot to mention about 03, Metroid Prime.
I like
Metroid Prime.
Oh yeah.
But actually about Metroid Prime, despite that we didn't talk about it when it went in the 02 one, and then it had a sequel in 04. But what about that series is that it revived practically Metroid because except for like as well as Metroid Fusion because it had been 8 years since a Metroid game came out by 02. The last one that came out before that was Super Metroid in 94 because I actually read because I had always wondered that I know that every Nintendo character had an N64 game except for Metroid. And I had to read about why that did not happen and come to find out the reason why they didn't plan on doing that is because the person who created Metroid, I guess not only left the company, but I guess he ended up dying like some time ago, and they didn't want to touch on that. They didn't want to touch on that series and destroy it. And they rather had somebody else with so much skill to do that. So they waited until the GameCube days to do that.
Oh wow, that's why
which is why Samus's only appearance on the N64 is the Super Smash game.
Two more series that came out in 2004 to bring up. These were huge back in the day. The Sims 2 and World of Warcraft.
Oh yes, World of Warcraft definitely. I mean, I didn't play that game either, but I couldn't deny that it was a huge phenomenon.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially. 04 is also the year the DS came out.
That was a major thing. Yeah, I mean, it practically it would introduce two screens where you can now, and it also introduced the touchscreen.
Yeah, it was like the first touchscreen, introduced touchscreen to gaming.
It was also easier to connect to DSs, like wireless.
You had touchscreen handheld before DS. You had the one that came in '99. It comes to mind. Forgot Neo. So I forgot what it's called. Forgot what it's called. Gamescom, something like that. Came in '99.
The Tiger Gamecom that came out in '97.
Yeah, something like that. Tiger. It was Tiger came out late '90s, but it wasn't. I remember seeing it, but I don't remember. I vaguely remember that, but I don't remember anybody playing it. Tiger Gamescom.
Yeah, they had a touchscreen, but it was more similar to this device called it's a kid's device called the Pixter.
No.
Yeah, that's what the touchscreen of it was more similar to, to where you can only touch I believe one graphic at a time.
Yeah.
Time and not
yeah.
Well, with the DS, you could actually draw with it and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember doing that, and it also this same handheld also introduced the remake of Super Mario 64. I didn't have that game either, but I did remember seeing the game came out for that handheld at that time.
Yeah. DS. Yeah, DS was a pretty interesting console. I know Wobo was pretty proud to be an 04 born because DS came out that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now again to 05.
It's
Big year.
Oh, 05. This is the year. This is actually a year where there was more Mario games, more Mario sports games introduced. Like they had, and they also actually, and then one of them, they had finally changed up the characters' attire to where it would be related to the sports they were playing. The first one that comes to mind when it comes for Mario sports games is that you had Mario Baseball, and then the other one was Mario Super Mario Strikers. And I had so much fun with that with both of them. Although for Mario Baseball, I kind of had a difficult time. Like when you played like the challenge mode or whatever it was called, you would have to do all these challenges to get all these stars, and some of them were required to like. Some of them would be hard because they were required to have like do a pitch a perfect game and win, or it required you to do this wall jump with this certain character, and then or require you to strike out a game or whatever, strike out a whole team or whatever, and just like all that. I don't know if you guys play those games, but yeah, I had a lot.
Oh yeah, I remember those. I remember those games coming out. Also, remember Mario Party 7 came out that year as well.
Yeah,
remember I mentioned Party X 1999. I actually remember reading an article on Mario Party 7 that was like when it was coming out. I was like, wow. So it was kind of funny. I was reading game magazines at age 9.
Is Mario Party 7 considered like the last good Mario Party
yeah.
game?
Yes, it is. Yeah, Mario Party 8 wasn't that. Mario Party 8 wasn't that good. I tried to like it, but I had a hard time because of the Wii controls. So it really didn't end up doing so well for me, unfortunately.
See, it also came out in early 2005, the PSP.
Oh yeah.
I have that, but I didn't get that until a year later. But it was so revolutionary. I mean, I'm not sure if you would consider it even revolutionary or anything, but it did a lot of the things that a lot of consoles now have on theirs, like just like the DS, it had Wi-Fi where you can actually connect and then unlike I think the DS, the PSP had a browser. I remember seeing that on there.
It was like somewhat like a precursor to a smartphone.
Yeah.
Yes. It really seemed like it was, except you couldn't call people.
Yeah.
Yeah, the DS, PSP was pretty modern. It's pretty ahead of its time. Like for 2005, you had a handheld that can play music. You had an MP3 player. You use it as a console. You could watch movies on it. During the UMD movies. The UMD disc.
Oh
movies.
man, yeah, you could have done so much on that PSP just at that time alone.
Oh man, PSP was.
Man.
It was the iPod. It was a way ahead of its time. It was ahead of its time. It was like a gaming iPod. That's how like.
Yeah, you can play. Yeah, you can not only can you play video games, but you can also watch movies, like you said, play music. Shoot, I mean, and I know it couldn't do this yet, but you can also put your pictures on there too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, PSP. Man.
Oh man, yeah, it was so man.
Since you brought up the DS again, one major sort of fad that also came out on the DS this year was Nintendogs.
Nintendogs. Oh yes, I mean I didn't have that either, obviously, but
I know it was powered on the females.
That was definitely like a huge game. Obviously, I mean I know it depends on the demographic and all, but yeah, there's no denying that Nintendo Dogs would have been a huge game for the DS.
Yeah, also, 2005 was really when the 6th generation platformer, like the last big hurrah for that. Like Sly 3 came out in that year. You also had this game on the Xbox. I don't know if you played it, called Psychonauts.
I think I played Psychonauts, and I believe I also played Sly 3. I think because one of my friends back then had a PS2, and I'm trying to remember which Sly game he had. I'm trying to think what the Sly 3 that he had, because the one was Sly 3. What was the subtitle for that game?
Honor Among Thieves.
Honor Among Thieves. I think my friend had that one. I believe.
I remember there was a Psychonauts for the N64. It came out in 97, 98.
But yeah, whatever which slide my friend had, it still seemed like it was fun. That's for sure.
Let's see. Also in a
Xbox 360.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The 360.
Let's see. What launch titles did the 360 have?
It had a few. It had Perfect Dark Zero, the sequel to Perfect Dark. It had another game. I forgot it started this girl, and it started with like a K, but I completely forgot the title at this point because it's been so long. It had an arcade game built upon with a hard drive called Hexe HD. I think King Kong was probably a launch title, I believe. And I think
I think it
Dead
had
or
VF
Alive
Pinata.
4, Dead or Alive 4 was, I believe, also, I think, a launch title.
Didn't you
Also,
have,
was it 2005 when the Guitar Hero series started on the PS2?
Yeah.
Yes, that too. But I mean, like I said, I didn't have that either. But yes, Guitar Hero definitely started that year.
See,
yeah.
last game
Now,
that comes
oh,
to
yeah,
mind
sorry.
for 5 is Animal Crossing Wild World.
Still didn't
Yeah.
have that game. You know, there's a lot of games that you guys are naming that I unfortunately did not have at that time.
Mario
Like
Kart
I
DS.
wish I did. Yes, that came out that came out that year too, but I didn't have that as well. I was like, I'm telling you guys, I mean, there's a lot of games that I wish I could have played at that time, but oh man, I did not have a lot. I didn't have
Yeah.
all the games you guys are mentioning. I did not have them, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So-
same here. I mean, I remember getting DS that Christmas of 05. Man, was that so exciting. Oh man, I still remember it. Still remember that exact moment I got the DS. Man, man, that was so. And and it came with Mario Kart DS too, man. It was the red DS pad.
Oh yeah, the DS was really a good. It was really a good handheld to have. I mean, I didn't get my a whole year later after you. Like I got mine to Christmas '06, and unfortunately, I was only playing like one game on it, which was Yoshi's Island DS. But because I didn't get, unfortunately for me, I didn't get no games except for that one or the other two for the DS. So like I said, I practically missed out on the whole DS craze just because I only had one game out of the whole time.
Also, it came
Dang,
out
really? Night,
Yeah.
Really? Dang. That
Yeah,
sucks.
really, just one whole game. I mean, I had three, but I was only playing Yoshi's Island DS. The other two were Superman and King Kong, which the DS version of King Kong was practically like it was practically just trash compared to the one on the 360. That's for sure.
Yeah. I'm surprised because I thought, because I was like, man, there's so many great, there's something classic. Like Mario
Yeah, there were
64,
so many games I missed out
Super
on just by
Mario
not having the
Bros.
DS.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I want to bring up. The new Super Mario Brothers series started in 06.
Yeah.
That was a huge phenomenon. That's for. I mean, I didn't have that game either, but damn, that was a huge phenomenon.
And then that's just when DS Lite came out in the spring of 06.
Yes, that's the DS that I actually got. I didn't get the original. My friend did, but I didn't have that one. I got the DS Lite instead because that was like the redesigned version.
Yeah, and that's also when you come because the original DS you actually used the SP charger. The DS Lite you had to use a whole different charger.
I think about 2006 is it seems like that year was. I mean, there were some good games released that year, but it seems like that year was bigger for console releases than the game releases.
True, because you had the PS3 and Wii coming out that year.
Yeah, the problem is though when it comes to actual games, like there didn't seem to be that many, at least that I know of too many noteworthy PS2 or like tail end 6th gen games that come out that year. And there weren't really too many.
I don't remember that many. I don't remember that many 6th generation games coming out that year. I think it was more about the 7th. I mean, I understand we're talking about 2006, and the only 7th generation that was out was the DS and the 360. But other than that, I don't really remember that many 6th generation games coming out in 06.
PS2 had a lot of 6th generation games, so you still have PS2.
That is true. Only the PS2 would have had a lot more. The GameCube
only had.
Xbox was like, I think they were already on their way out by that point.
The GameCube only had Twilight. Only thing I remember from GameCube 06 was Twilight Princess and Chibi Robo. That was like the last two GameCube games that. Oh yeah, Naruto Clash Ninja 2. That came out 06.
Oh yes, Naruto. That was like I mean, obviously the anime had just started by that point as well, but that's practically another third party series that was introduced to every console.
Yeah, because Naruto was the first Naruto game. I think it was on the GameCube. Not sure. The original Clash Ninja that came out 05. Yeah, that was. So I think that GameCube also started a whole Naruto video game craze. If I'm not sure. Oh, another game from. Forgot to mention 05. When we talk about anime games. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, Dragon Ball Z Tenkaichi, Dragon Ball Z Sagas all came out in 05.
Oh wow, damn.
Budokai 3, Tenkaichi, the first Tenkaichi, and the Sagas, yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, anyways, about 2006. Even though there was a lot of good consoles coming out the year, when it comes to game releases, I think it may be actually quite possibly the weakest year of the zeros.
Yeah, especially
I think I could agree with that because like I said, I don't remember that many major games coming out that year. Even when we look at Nintendo, I mean, yes, you had New Super Mario Bros., but that was for the DS. There was like practically no major like home consoles because the PS3 and the Wii was not out yet, and only the Xbox 360 was out. And even then, despite having it that year, I don't remember that many. I don't remember that major releases coming out that year for some reason. The only one that comes to mind that I could think about would have been Tomb Raider, Legends, and obviously, I'm not sure if you guys consider this as the worst Sonic game of all time, but Sonic 06.
Oh yeah, that game was very infamous back then. It pretty much
I was
split the
like,
Sonic's fan base.
and it's also the same game that introduced another Hedgehog Silver.
Yeah, and it's a game that featured a light bestiality. Sonic and Elise. Yes, Sonic and Elise.
Oh, I didn't know. I mean, I knew that. I mean, I know that he had rescued her, but I didn't realize that people were gonna put bestiality into that part. I was really not aware of that.
This is an E-rated game, but they did have them actually kissing in that game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I did not. I wasn't even. I mean, it's been so long since I played that game, but I was not aware of that fact at all. I wasn't aware that she kissed him. I don't know. Was it like way towards the end?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I do remember that part because the part they got to because there was like the very last level before the final boss. There's this scene where Sonic gets hit by this beam, I think, where he loses all his power and he's practically almost dying or something. And all the other supporting characters, they have to go find the emeralds just to rescue him and revive him or someplace. And I think that's the scene where, like you said, I think she may have kissed him to the point, and I think he revived, and then I think he became Supersonic, I think.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened.
I was not aware of that whole bestiality thing at all. Like, I'm telling you, I was not aware of that. I mean, I thought she was just kissing him just because that she wanted to make sure that he was alive, and the fact that he was this hero that he had to do what he had a job to take care of. I didn't realize that wasn't referring to bestiality at all until you said that.
Yeah. So, anyways, about the Wii and PS3 that came out that year. Of course, the PS3, of course, had no big launch titles that I'm aware of, but it was also super expensive.
Oh yeah, it was.
About 700.
Practically nobody had it.
Yeah, and then the Wii came out. Of course, its big killer app at that time was only Wii Sports, and later on Twilight Princess.
Yeah, there's not a lot of games from 06 that like you said. I have to totally agree that 06 was like the weakest year because I really don't remember that many major games coming out, except for the few that you mentioned. But like you said, I don't remember that much because the only games that I had back in 06 that came out that year, like I said, not only just Yoshi's Island DS, I also had Friday Night Round 3. I don't think that was a major deal. And then there was also Tomb Raider Legends. I don't know if that was a major game at that time.
The Tomb Raider Legends came out in 06 or 07.
Tomb Raider Legends came in 06. There's another one came out in 07, but it was a different title. I don't remember that one, but Legends came out in 06 though.
All right. See.
But yeah, I really don't remember that. I honestly don't remember that many games coming out for any console in 06 for some particular reason. Because like I said, like you guys said, the 6th generation was on its way out. So except for the PS2, obviously, of course, which had way more games compared to the others. But like I said, I don't remember that many 360 games coming out that year. Probably because it was still an early year for it, so there wouldn't have been no major titles just yet. But yeah, I have to totally agree with that. Maybe the DS probably would have had some major ones, but I'm not sure about that though.
So you're going to get into 2007 now, or do you want to wait till Mario?
Mario left.
He's on mute right now.
Oh, yeah, let's wait for him to come back. While we're waiting, you're back, Mario?
Yeah, because I was about to say Gears of War 1 came out that year.
05?
Oh, Gears of War?
06.
Didn't Gears of War came out in 05?
I thought it came out 06 because I remember. Okay. But yeah,
like it's just
that's like the only standout game of that year I could think of, besides like esports and stuff.
Yeah, like, do you agree, Mario, that we mentioned that 2006 was probably the weakest year, especially of the zeros for gaming?
I can agree with that because I remember games said I don't remember any like classic games like any big titles for '06. Granted, I was young at the time, but still, like '05, I was like, I remember like most of like the big '05 games, but like '06, not really. I remember when the Wii came out though. Like I remember going to Walmart. I remember there was this lady. She said, "This is Nintendo Wii." Remember this lady? This kiosk in Walmart when the Wii launched. They was like show how the Wii worked. They would play like Wii Sports, the Warrior Ship game. Remember that? Anybody remember that? '06.
Yeah, I remember.
The Wii kiosk. Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, before we move on, before we move on to '07, I'm just gonna check out the games of '06 and see if there's any that could have been missing that could have been major, because like I said again, I don't really remember that many good ones coming out that year. So let me see. Let's see which ones. I mean, besides the obvious ones like New Super Mario Bros., Wii Sports, and all that. Let me see what was the other ones. I guess you were right, Mario. I guess Gears of War did come out that year. Oh, some other games that came out that year. Bully. I remember seeing a movie for that. Call of Duty 3. I don't know how I forgot that game for some typical reason. One of the last Call of Duty games before it
Exploded.
became huge with Modern Warfare. So, but yeah, Call of Duty 3 that came out that year. Another game that came out in '06, Final Fantasy 12. I don't remember that one being that huge though. There was a Lego Star Wars game. Oh, I remember. I should have known that. I forgot about that. I forgot Lego Star Wars was in the big game. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, there was a game called Half-Life 2 Star Episode 1. And another one called Resistance Fall of Man. There was one called Dark Messiah. There was one called Scarface The World Is Yours. There was one called Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Oh, Marvel
Oh,
Alliance. At first, I thought they came out as a launch title in '05. Like when we got our Xbox 360, it was bundled in with Marvel Ultimate Alliance as long as Forza Motorsport 2.
Other games that came out that year. Oh shoot! How could I forget Saints Row? Oh man, I totally forgot that game for some reason. That is another. I'm not sure if you guys consider that major, but it was like another game that was just like GTA, except you could do so much more. So at least I think.
Also, wasn't Bully also a lot like GTA?
Bullying?
Yeah.
I'm not sure because I didn't. I mean, the only thing I was really more familiar with that title was the movie. I wasn't really more familiar with the game though. All right, other games that came out that year. The second Guitar Hero came out that year.
That's the first one.
And then there was another game called Hitman. I mean, I forgot about. I don't know how we talk about Hitman because that was actually a good series at one point. But the one that came out for '06 was Blood Money. I mean, I played the demo of that game and was alright. I would have actually liked it a lot more possibly if I would have had the whole version rather than just a demo. But yeah. Let's see.
Wasn't Bully? The Bully game.
Oh, Rainbow Six Vegas. Was that a game that was mentioned?
Was it released for 6th gen or 7th gen?
I'm not sure.
All right.
There was a game called Need for Speed. Avatar. Avatar came out in '06. The Avatar: The Last Airbender. Oh, that game came. I didn't realize that game came out in '06. Oh, sure. No, that's what I mean. No wonder we couldn't think of. No wonder we couldn't think of a lot of good games from '06 because a lot of them don't come to mind when we think about usual games that came out each year. Other games that came out in '06, The Godfather, the first Godfather game, and as well as the prequel to GT. I mean, wait, is Vice City Stories a prequel or a sequel to GT to Vice City?
I think I'm not sure.
Oh, because that game came out that year too.
All right.
And then another game that came out in '06, it was Tony Hawk's Project 8, I think. Like I said, I really don't remember that game that much compared to like the others. And then there was another game called 24. But yeah, like you said, Captain, I have to totally agree. there really isn't any other games that I can think about that really would make 2006 a successful year.
Yeah.
And then the last game I'm gonna name off before we move on to 07, there was this other game called WD SmackDown.
Oh yeah,
07, yeah. Like I said, I have to totally agree with Captain. There really isn't that many major games I can think about that comes to this year for some reason.
So going from the lowest of lows in 06, 2007 is actually considered probably the best year of the zeros, and many people even consider it the best year ever for gaming.
I wouldn't say of all time. I would say in the 2000s, when it comes to the 2000s, I would definitely name it in the top 5. But for all time, I'm not sure about that one yet. But I totally agree with it being in the top 5, that's for sure. And there's a lot of major releases for this year. Biggest one of all, although it would have came out to much way later into the year, Modern Warfare 1.
Yeah.
Which definitely personified not only the Call of Duty series, but now this was the game where online gaming got much bigger than compared to Halo 2.
This is when online gaming really became something, that it became normal. It wasn't something that, it wasn't as underground because back in the 6th generation, like not many people were talking about online gaming, but like L7 generation, that's when it was like, come on, play Halo Duty with me. That's when that whole thing started.
Yeah, another game that popularized that, Halo 3, that was huge back then. I remember.
Oh yeah, I was actually gonna get that game for my birthday, but I was told that it wasn't coming out for a whole nother week. So unfortunately, and then later on I was never able to get it, so I actually ended up missing out on that game. But luckily, thanks to my friend who had bought it, as well as he also had the limited edition of that console as back then when Mountain Dew was like doing a promotional thing. But because of him, that's how I was able to play that game. But yeah, I was gonna get that game for my birthday, but like I said, it was not out for a whole nother week or so. So I was like, oh damn.
Also in 2007, even though not many people had it yet, but the PS3 started to roar a bit as a game console. Like you had Uncharted, you had Ratchet and Clank: Tools of Destruction.
Mm-hmm. And you also had Little Big Planet and Assassin's Creed.
Oh yeah. Also, for 07, you had for 360 BioShock, the first BioShock.
Yeah.
You had Guitar Hero 3. You had Mario Galaxy.
You had Metroid Prime 3 Corruption.
Yeah, that game came out that year too. I mean, it's unfortunate how I didn't get the last of the trilogy, but it would have been nice though, because I heard the game was just as great as.
You had Pokemon Diamond and Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
and you also had Mass Effect.
Speaking of Pokemon, this is considered one of the lowest points. Battle Revolution on the Wii.
Oh yeah, that was probably the weakest of the console, turn-based Pokemon games.
Yeah, I mean, usually the Pokemon games on consoles usually don't do nearly as well as the ones on handhelds.
But the ones on consoles are remembered though by like fans. So like Stadium, especially, like people consider that. I mean, like people talk about that like it's a a handheld game.
Yeah.
Stadium,
as well as Snap.
And then too. Then Coliseum XD, even though they were like the downfall, even though Pokemon was at its lowest point when those games came out, it was still pretty, remembered pretty well by, Pokemon fans. So that Revolution, not so much.
Also, I believe did Mario Party DS also come out this?
Mario Party DS?
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, I didn't have that game either, like I said, because like I said, with my history with the DS. But I believe that game came out that year too.
Yeah. Besides, if it's not 7, they'll also say DS, the last good Mario Party game.
Yeah. Also, 2007. What are the games came out 07?
BioShock.
Yeah, I mentioned that. Yeah, earlier.
Portal.
Yeah, Portal that came out that year.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and then you had I mean, I'm looking at the list too. Oh, you had God of War. The second God of War came out that year.
Oh.
And then you had B-Movie, and then you had the Harry Potter Goblet of Fire game that came out too. Or not Goblet of Fire, the whatever movie that came out in 07. That one, I think.
Was it Order of the Phoenix?
Yeah, thank you. That's the one I think that came out that year. I believe it's that game that would have been that one of that game came out that year. I'm sorry. Sorry, it was that one, not Goblet of Fire.
Also,
And
I
then you
talked.
also and then oh sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
you can go on.
I was gonna say two others I'm looking at. I mean, this is obviously another big one, Super Mario Galaxy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to touch up upon.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. Yeah, that was the game that I was addicted to that game when I got it. Man, I still remember getting it Christmas '07. Boy,
That's
was
the
I addicted to that game.
that's the game that made me want a Nintendo Wii. Like I originally didn't want a Wii, but once Mario Galaxy was out, that's the game that made me want this console.
This was actually one of the first games that I finally had. Except I wasn't able to pass it because we didn't have the Wii that long, and once we got the Wii Fit a little later on, my sister I guess decided to put it in her room and practically just made us just really just quit the Wii from altogether. So I was not really able to play that game that much, but I definitely had so much fun with Galaxy though when I got it later on. Aside from that game, another major game that came out that I wanted to be, and it ended up being, I guess, I'm not sure if it was a competitor or it ended up failing compared to Guitar Hero, Rock Band.
Oh yeah, Rock Band. I'm glad you brought that up. So I was, yeah, that series, of course, with Guitar Hero, you only had the guitar. You also had some games before it, like Karaoke Revolution, which only had the microphone. But in Rock Band, you had the microphone, guitar, bass, and drums.
Yeah. Also, yeah,
Damn.
That's when rhythm based games really became like mainstream. Guitar Hero 3 came out. Because before Guitar Hero, you only had like EDR. That was like the only and then you had Corrupt the Rapper. Those were like the only like rhythm games, that are really like popular for Guitar Hero.
And then another game that come to mind for '07. I mean, I didn't have this game either, but it was for the Wii, Super Paper Mario.
Oh, I've heard that's the. I mean, many people consider it when the series started going downhill, but they still consider it a pretty good game. Like it was a more platform based, so you didn't have it wasn't as strategic as a Paper Mario 1 and 2 were.
Hold on.
And then you had some other racing games like. You still there, Captain?
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say. There was also some other racing games like Burnout, Forza Motorsport. I don't know if you ever played that game.
Yeah. Wait, Forza Motorsport 2?
Yes, that's what it says. Forza Motorsport.
Yeah, that's the game that was bundled in with the Marvel Ultimate Alliance when we got my Xbox 360 back in '07.
Oh, that's pretty nice. That's pretty good. And then there's another game. There was another game called Age of Empires 3.
I haven't played that.
And there was another game that called Skate. I mean, I didn't have that either, but that came out that year too.
It sounds pretty familiar.
Yeah, it's like similar to Tony Hawk, except you could probably do a lot more on that game compared to like the Tony Hawk stuff.
And also, I believe it was '07 when on the DS, Drawn to Life came out.
Drawn to Life. Let me check it up. Hold on, let me see. Hold on, let me check right now. Let's see. You said Drawn to Life. Yes, it did. It came out that year. Actually, that was like a major game, but I mean, I didn't have it, but obviously it was a major game.
Yeah.
And just like you said, Mario Party DS. Yes, it was. I don't know if you already checked it out, but yes, it's confirmed. Yeah, that was out that year too.
Yeah. So, you guys any more games you bring up from '07?
Well, for me, there is another one. There's also the remake of Diddy Kong Racing.
Oh yeah, Diddy Kong Racing DS.
Oh yeah, I got that for my 11th birthday. I remember that game.
I didn't have that game either, but I heard about it that there was like this remake and they replaced it and they added 2 more Kong characters and replaced the Banjo and Conquer because they were rare characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You replace him with Tiny Kong and Dixie Kong.
yeah, that the two, yeah, that's who was in place of Banjo and Conquer.
All right, so ready for
Yeah.
2008?
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh wait, wait. There's one more major game that came out, and I almost let it slide by. The biggest crossover of all, Mario and Sonic Olympic Games.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
like of course
That game, that game was really. I bet that. I mean, I didn't have that game either, but that one was definitely huge because you had this giant crossover from two platforms that used to battle against each other, actually compete with and even against each other.
And then
yep.
that's also it was another thing that kind of made that big was that it was like based on the Olympics, like you know it was based on the Olympics that was coming up, so they came out a year before every Olympic Games. I didn't realize it came out in '07 though. Like I still remember the commercials for that game though. Final countdown. I still remember the commercials for that game.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of major games for that year that I actually did not have. Even
Yeah.
Even the original Modern Warfare, I did not have that year. But I do remember a few friends having that game though back then. But yeah, it was pretty. I mean, I played it later on, but it was pretty fun. That's for sure.
Oh really? Oh man. Yeah. So it sounds like you missed out a lot in Silver J, nerdy.
Man, oh man, I know. Like I said, it's so. I mean, for me being a gamer, it's so sad how I missed out in most of these games during their prime. I mean, I can still play them later on, obviously, but that little magic where you play them in their prime and everybody's playing them. Shoot, I totally missed out on that one. So.
Yeah. I didn't really game much in the seventh generation. I mean, yeah, I mean, the first like couple years of seventh generation, I was still playing like sixth gen stuff because PS2 was still pretty active at that point.
Mhm.
Like I was playing like Dragon Ball Z games. I was playing like the Naruto games that was coming out for PS2. So, it was still okay if you didn't have a seventh gen console. In
That's
2006,
true.
2007.
Yeah, that is totally true. Because in 2007, I mean I still had the I mean I've already had the 360 by that point, but I actually also still had a PS2 I think, as well as the GameCube I think, unless the
Yeah.
GameCube that I had was already dying because there was a lot of games. There was a lot of games by that point that we're not really playing anymore. So I don't know. And then I had kept it on for so long that I guess it was causing it to die like later on. So yeah, those were like the only consoles I had left for sixth generation by '07. And that also I also ended up getting another Xbox where it came with I think it came with San Andreas. So I mean I was having so much for that game. That's when I actually got San Andreas by the way. But yeah,
No.
I gonna get an Xbox later on. So
Okay.
All right. So about 2008, the first game that of course comes right off the bat is a Smash Brothers Brawl.
oh, I wanted that game so much, and I ended up. I mean, and Slowpoke told me. I mean, I before Slowpoke told me the results behind that game. I actually was trying to get it, but I was never able to because again, I did not have the Wii until because I didn't get the Wii itself until later in the year.
But yeah,
So I totally missed out on that game. But I only got to play it once, so with a friend. But like I said, I had a little bit of fun, but I got to miss out on like the biggest aspect because I didn't get to play a lot more like than I should have.
yeah. For me, the best part. Well, as a 10-year-old back then, for me, the best part about the Super Smash Brothers Brawl was the Subspace Emissary.
Oh, I think I was reading about that. Like it's more. It was like this mission mode. I think.
Yeah, it's sort of like the adventure, like it has
Oh
story
yeah,
to it.
it did seem like. I mean, obviously I didn't play that mode because I only played it once, but it did seem like adventure mode. That's for sure. I totally agree.
I mean, of course, the best part,
Except it was like way more adventurous. That's for sure.
like for me, the best and for many people, the best part of the Subspace Emissary was the cutscenes.
I bet that was like a very first in the Super Smash series. That's for sure.
I mean, the best part about the cutscenes is that they don't have any dialogue, so you have to guess what they're thinking.
Oh, really? It's like, oh, it's that kind of game. I see. It's just
Yeah.
like the Mario games where everybody speaks except for the main character.
No, there's no dialogue in the Subspace Emissary. I mean, maybe except for a few voice sounds, but there's no
Yeah,
like
that's what I
talk.
mean.
Yeah,
Yeah, even Mario Party 3 was like that. I mean, it didn't have no cutscenes, obviously, but just like in Mario Party 3 in the story mode, they don't have no dialogue. It's like they're speaking in boxes. I think I know what you mean. They had that too.
it's see. Also came out in 2008. It was a Grand Theft Auto 5. I mean, not 5, 4.
Yes, 4. Again, still did not have that game, but I do remember having the themes for my 360 at that time. It was like it seems like I was like so excited to like download it. It had like different backgrounds for each. Back when the 360 had the older dashboard, but yeah, it was like 4 different backgrounds for it, or 4 or 5 different backgrounds. That was pretty nice.
Also, not this is not a game, but what sort of prolonged the 7th gen that happened in 2008, the recession.
Oh yes, yeah.
That
Most people weren't buying their games by that point, or buying games or so.
I think that's also one of the reasons why the PS2 had a much longer lifespan, is because people were still holding on to it because they didn't want to splurge on a new console.
True.
It's also why
Go ahead.
It's also why the Xbox 360 and PS3, and to a much lesser extent the Wii, lasted as long as they did. Is because during the worst years of the recession, during 2009 and into 2011, no one wanted to buy a new console.
And it's also speaking of why the newer ones that come out so later, because back in 2011, I was looking at the releases of when the PS4 and the Xbox, when it was called the 720, was coming out. And I believe I was reading it was supposed to come out sometime later in that year or in 2012, although that was never confirmed because of, like you said, the recession and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
what you guys on?
We're on 2008.
Okay, 2008. What can I remember from that year? I remember I know it wasn't really a big, probably not the most remembered game of that year. Facebreaker from 360.
Which one?
We also brought up Super Smash Brothers Brawl.
Oh yeah, that's the big one. What else? No wait.
Sonic Gravity, or I mean Sonic Riders. All right, it was like Sonic Riders.
Oh yeah, Sonic Unleashed, which is considered
yes,
the first.
That game too. You had World at War, Call of Duty. I mean, I that was the first game to introduce zombies.
Yeah.
As a DLC though, but not like it's not like incorporated, but it was a DLC though that you could just add, and it would give you this brand new mode that would like be fun.
You had let's see. Yeah, this was also considered one of the worst years for E3 for Nintendo.
Oh yeah, Wii Music.
Yeah.
Oh, really? They really had to make that?
Yeah.
They effed up big time on that one.
Yeah.
It was laughably bad, especially when they had Reggie. I mean, not. It was this guy.
It was a Japanese guy.
Drums.
Yeah, he was like. I was like.
I'm surprised no one in the audience was laughing at that.
Yeah, it was funny just looking at it. I remember Shokyo did a video about that. He was did a clip saying, I hope E3 doesn't turn out to be like 2008. You know, he was showing a guy playing drums. I'm like, wow. But I thought people say the Wii was at its peak in 08, but yet it was considered the worst E3 conferences. Yeah, it was at its peak, you know, that's because that was the year where Wii Fit came out, I think, that year.
Did Mario Kart Wii?
Yeah.
Yes, Mario Kart Wii came out that year. I actually, just like Super Smash, I actually played that game as well only once, and my friend, because I played it at a friend's house. I guess when he had the Wii, then he had the wheel, and I was so excited to actually like use it. But when I had first play Mario Kart with the wheel, I was so frustrated because I had so much difficulty controlling the cart that I practically I could not ever get first place with it. It was just
Yeah.
it was so embarrassing.
Yeah, I never had that game, but I used to play at a friend's house. You know, he would use the wheel, and then one of us used the GameCube controller. Because you have to use the GameCube controller to play like.
Yeah, I was like, it was so embarrassing. I was like, oh man, I could just never get the first place with it. Like I thought it was so easier. Like you could actually just twist and turn, but it's not like that.
Yeah, Mario Kart's a chaotic game.
Yeah.
If sure, it was totally the Wii one was totally chaotic. That's for sure.
It had the Wii wheel. Was his main gimmick on that game.
Yeah, you also
had.
It
sure was.
He also had what's the game? No More Heroes. I'm not sure if you guys remember that game.
I remember it. I haven't played it.
It's an M-rated game for the Wii, and it's like very weird. It's like M-rated game. It's like Japanese. It's kind of it's kind of very otaku-ish, very Japanese, and it's like very like there's very crude humor. It's one of those like obscure but like good games on Wii that nobody really mentions.
Yeah, speaking of it, you said it's M-rated. This 2008 was the last year I wasn't allowed to play M-rated games. Well, in 2009, they started become more lenient on that.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, good parenting.
Yeah. Other games that came out in 2008 would be I don't know if this was already mentioned, but Fallout 3.
Yeah.
And then you had, and then my friend had this game too. But I didn't have it, but he had it. Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that on Captain. Because I can see that because.
And then there was also Far Cry 2. And then you had Lego Batman. And then you had Age of Conan. And then you had Fable, the second Fable game.
Oh yeah, Fable 2. And that reminds me. It also came out in 2008. Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts.
Oh yeah, I remember that game, but like I said, I didn't have it unfortunately. But I do remember it.
I didn't have it either. I heard the game pretty much killed Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, there was a huge backlash against it. Like mainly because the characters looked a lot different. They feel that Microsoft was ruining the series.
Just like they did Conquer, they made Conquer an E-rated game, shockingly.
Yeah. Even though one good thing they did for the Banjo series in 2008 was they released the first game on Xbox Live Arcade.
Oh yes, I do remember that.
Yeah. Isn't that also an Xbox Live when Avatars came out on 08?
Either 08 or 09.
What came out?
Xbox Avatars.
Repeat that one more time.
Xbox Avatars.
Oh yes, that. I mean, I know this wasn't in a game, but oh shit, that was the biggest update ever on Xbox Live, on Xbox 360, and not just Xbox, but Microsoft overall. Like it was this brand new thing where you could actually get a character to represent you. That was actually one of the best things I ever experienced.
It's pretty much like the Mii for the Wii.
Yes, like that, except better.
Exactly, because the character's more human.
So, anyways,
I totally agree. The Xbox Avatar was totally more human than the ones on the Wii. That's for sure.
One more thing before we move on to 2009 that me and Nerdy talked about while your microphone was unmuted, how the recession also happened in 2008, which one of the reasons why the PS2 lasted a lot longer than it did, as well as why the seventh generation as a whole lasted a lot longer than the sixth and previous ones did.
Yeah, that had lots to do with the seventh generation being the longest console generation, because the recession, man, like people say recession ended in 2009, but like people were still complaining about jobs and the economy well into the 2010s, well into I say the entire Obama's first term was basically about the recession. Like that was basically the whole narrative.
Yeah,
Obama's like first term in office.
Yeah, especially in 2010 and 2011.
Yeah, like people. I remember 2010. Like I mean, once you get to 2010, that's when the seventh generation really just turned, really just like changed, like really sort of see a shift in the generation once we get into like the latter years of the generation.
Anyways, about a 2009, getting into that, this is what many would consider or somewhat of the peak year, either 2009 or, well, considering how long the seventh gen lasted, the peak year of the seventh gen.
Yeah, didn't he have Uncharted 2 come out that year?
Yeah, Uncharted 2. Let's see. He also had a new Super Mario Brothers on the Wii.
Oh yeah, that was the game. Oh yeah, that was the game that everybody. That's the game that a lot of people remember. Like a lot of
And then
like.
you had a new, and then you had a newer version of called Halo 3.
Yeah, you had what it came out 09? Pokemon Platinum. You
Yeah.
had what else came out that year that I remember?
Killzone.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Yeah.
Infamous.
Oh yeah, it was Killzone 2 because the original one came out way earlier than that. But yeah, I do remember trying to get that game, but I was never able to.
Also, didn't Infamous also come out?
Yes, Infamous and another Ratchet and Clank also came out that year. The Future.
Was it a Crack in Time?
No, it was. Oh yeah, I think it was. No, it was like Future. Oh yeah, Crack in Time. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You had PS3 was starting to really get good in 2009. That's when PS3 was starting to get really become
And then you had DJ Hero.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that game. I remember the commercial for that game where they was playing Eminem. Hi, my name is. Yeah.
And then there was Halo Wars.
Also another game.
That game seemed like it was forgotten or something.
A DS game that came out this time. Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story.
Oh, for the DS?
Yeah.
May have heard of it. Oh, but I didn't. Like I said, I didn't play it though.
Yeah, you missed out on all the DS classics.
I sure freaking did.
I'll
never be able to experience that unless it's on emulator.
Oh yeah. Dang man.
Other games that came out in 09 though. Biggest one of all, like for the PlayStation series, Assassin's Creed 2.
Oh yeah. Yeah, one thing I remember about 09 was the hardware releases of that year. Like you had the PS3 Slim. The
also,
DSi, I believe, came out the year.
Yeah.
And you had
Borderlands.
Oh yeah. And you had the PSP Go. Oh, who remembers that?
Yeah, I had that. After my PSP, the original one I had broke. I guess something was wrong with the screen, so my mom ended up getting one another year. It was a whole another year later after it came out. But yes, I ended up getting the PSP Go.
Oh man, I heard about that. It was so much controversy when that came out because
there were no games. Couldn't play no games with it.
Yeah, it was ahead of its time to think about it because it was digital. It was an all digital handheld, which we wasn't used to at the time. I was like, what? So you needed Wi-Fi to enjoy it, and people didn't have Wi-Fi back then.
That's the only thing I didn't like about the Go was that you couldn't play no games on unless you download them.
Oh yeah, I remember back in 2009 though. I remember I used to go to my barber shop and then you had Wi-Fi, a hotspot, and we would just play around and we was customize our homepage. Like that was so fun. Yeah.
All right, other games that came out in 09. There was Call of Juarez. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Oh,
Call
of Juarez?
In 09. Yeah, Call of Juarez.
Yeah, I've heard of that game. At first, I thought it was a parody of Call of Duty.
Yeah, I thought it was too, but I guess it's something else.
Yeah.
Another game that came out that year, Resident Evil 5.
Oh yeah, that's one of Resident Evil series. That's why people say Resident Evil series kind of died.
And then another one that came out, Left 4 Dead 2.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy you mentioned Resident Evil 4 for 04, because that was a big game for 2004, 2005, 4. Like I remember people talking about that game when it came out, when 4 came out.
All right, the next game another game that came out in 09. Let's see, Bayonetta, the first Bayonetta.
I thought that game came out in the early 2010s.
I think. Wait,
Well, no, it says 09 right here.
Yeah.
let me look it up because I remember
The
watching.
first, yeah, the first Bayonetta. That's what it says.
That was my and the character was my first gaming crush.
Really?
The character
Ah.
Bayonetta was my first gaming crush.
Okay, it came out. Yeah, it came out 09.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me see release dates for Bayonetta. Oh wow.
Alright, what?
Yeah, because I remember watching a video on IGN in 2010 when they reviewed it. So yeah, my IGN must didn't have a YouTube channel back then, but yeah, it came out. Oh, yeah, Nerd Game is right.
Another game that came out in 09, Batman Arkham Asylum.
Oh, I think I've heard of that. I mean, I heard that. I mean, I definitely heard of the Batman games from this time during the mid to late 7th gen.
I think my cousin had. I believe my cousin had this game, and I'm trying to remember. I'm thinking because I remember somebody having it. I just don't remember it was my cousin having it, and I think I had some fun with it. I believe.
Oh man, so yeah, 09. Dang, there's so many games came out 09.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Another one that comes to mind, but it was probably lesser known to you guys maybe. Godfather 2. That one came out in 09 too.
Oh yeah, I heard about that game. Yeah.
I actually had that, but I didn't get it till like the end of that year. But I do remember getting it. It was pretty fun. And you get to be the Don, and get to be this big boss and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, another game for 09. I just came up to my mind. Wii Sports Resort that came out that year.
Yes, that I remember getting that game. Obviously a little later when I got the new Wii, but I do remember having that game. It just had. I think it had a lot more compared to the original.
Oh.
Wii Sports Board. Another one that comes to mind that started this craze, the Just Dance series. I think. Was it? Did it start in 09 or did it start like a little before that?
I think it started 08. I'm not sure.
Well, because I do remember having a game that said like Just Dance.
Was the title based off of Lady Gaga song?
Yes, it's a Lady Gaga song, but that's the title. But because of that title, they ended up using it in some of those dancing games.
Yeah, I definitely remember those.
And then the last one for this year we're gonna mention, the biggest one of all. We practically saved for last. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Oh yeah. Yes, that game got my cousin. I remember when that game came out. That's when my cousin got Call of Duty. Yeah.
So moving on to the, I want to group these years together. Otherwise, the stream would lag on. The early 2010s, 2010 to 2012.
Yeah, because that's like the last few years of 7th gen.
Yeah.
The last like 3 years. Okay, so
2010 in particular, I think was probably the last big hurrah for the Wii. Like you had Epic Mickey come out that year, Super Mario Galaxy 2,
Kirby, Rainbow Curse. No, not Rainbow Curse. Kirby. What's Yarn? Yeah, Kirby Epic Yarn. Yeah, that game.
Mafia 2.
Yeah.
You got Momo Heroes 2.
That game came out that year, and then you also had God of War 3.
Yeah, No More Heroes 2 for Wii.
And then you had. Let me see. Hold on. I'm trying. Let me see. Okay, I'm looking at the list of all the games that came out that year. Oh, Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, it's that. Oh, wow. Because I'm still here for you to talk about the game.
Yes, it came out in 2010. I remember like the commercials that came. I mean, unfortunately, it's another game that I didn't have, but yeah, I do remember seeing the commercials for that.
Oh, you had Metro Prime Other M for the Wii.
Oh yes, that game. Oh, I didn't have that either. Oh, this is also the year where DKC come back as like where DK comes back as the character you can finally play. Yeah, because it had been because by 2010 it had been 11 years. Besides the Donkey Konga series, that it had been that long since a major DK game came out.
And the last 2D DK game was it's been 14 years since the last 2D DK game.
Yeah.
When DKC returns?
From DKC returns from DKC 3, it was 14 years.
Well, no, 11 because you're forgetting DK64.
I know, but I'm talking about 2D, like the country games.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right about that too. I mean, because I did read about that returns was like a return to like the 2D platform.
Yeah, this
Which was
time the Wii was going very retro centric. It seemed like in
at that
09 and
point.
2010, like
Yeah.
with New Super Mario Bros. Wii with Donkey Kong Country Returns. So I wonder if Kirby Zafigong was maybe part of that.
Yeah.
And then it was so go ahead.
Oh yeah, well 360. That's when the 360 really like changed. That's when the Xbox had his new president. Like, cause Peter Moore retired from Microsoft, but then it got Don Matrick. That's when 360 came more like the Wii. You had like Connect, and the movie came out that year.
Right. Oh yeah. That 2010 was definitely a major year for video games. Like you said, for the Xbox. Oh yeah, that's when it became the Connect. Although that one came out towards like the end of the year though.
And then you had the Slim model that came out that year as well.
Yes, that too, where it had where it not only, and it also fixed a few other issues with the 360. No longer the red rings, that was gone. The 3D, the wireless thing was built in, so wouldn't have to get that extra. You wouldn't have to get that extra thing anymore. Also, the fact that you were the controller instead of having a redesign of it or something.
Yeah.
Same thing. Another thing that also came out that year in relation to what you just said, and this one is more forgotten completely because it seemed like it didn't really last that long. PlayStation Move. That was Sony's Wii right there.
Yeah. And of course, the biggest
that thing is so forgotten. I don't see anybody ever mentioning that.
And of course, the biggest thing in 2010, Black Ops.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Once Black Ops came out, that's when I really felt Call of Duty really like dominated the gaming. Once Black Ops came out, Call of Duty just dominated the game industry.
Yeah, during 7th grade, I could go anywhere without hearing Black Ops this and Black Ops that.
Yeah.
Oh man, when I got that game in Christmas of 2010, oh man, I was so excited. I decided when I got the game, I decided to just go home and start playing campaign. I was just beating up. I was just so having so much fun.
Yeah, I was in 9th grade when that game came out. Man, that's still.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Yeah. Other games that came out that year was BioShock 2.
Yeah. Call of Duty Black Ops is as big as how Fortnite is now in 2018. Black Ops was in 2010. Right. That's like
a And then other games that came out that year, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. I actually had that one for once. It was a pretty fun game. I mean, you got to play as this. It started from Assassin's Creed 2. You got to play as this character Ezio. You know, he had all these hidden attacks. You know, that kind of stuff. It was pretty fun. But I had that game though.
Oh man, so 2010, man, it was a game changer for like the third generation.
It sure was.
Because by this point, the 360 was 5 years old, the PS3 was 4 years old, and the Wii was 4 years old. So we was like, "Where's new consoles?" And then you as you mentioned earlier, recession happened 2 years earlier, so people were expecting like about 720 and the PS4.
To 2011, that's really when the 8. I mean, it didn't come in full swing that year, but it's when it's somewhat started to make its mark. Like the 3DS came out, and the Wii U was announced.
The Wii U would have came out. Oh, not well, the Wii U wouldn't have came out for another year, but yes, the 3DS. Oh yeah, that was a major change. Where now it had the analog stick, and there was like so much more you can do. I mean, unfortunately, I was really hoping to get that handheld. Oh man, again, I was never able to succeed.
Yeah, but you don't feel bad because 3DS 2011 it was pretty empty for the most part. It was still like
true.
Until it got good, like Mario Kart 7 and Mario 3 Land. But yeah, I didn't get 3DS until the XL came out 2 years later. So I was pretty late for 3DS. I was 2 years late for that.
Also, this has been the first time when you, Nerdy, would have been out of high school.
That's correct. My 3DS came out right when I was on my way out of high school.
Oh yeah, you was like the youngest in your class because you were born in September.
Right. Well, I was one of the youngest, but not the youngest. That's for sure.
My cousin graduated that year too, but he was born in '92. So
yeah, my sister also did. She was born August of '93.
I still remember his. I still remember.
Is your sister a Virgo, Captain?
What?
Is your sister a Virgo?
I think so. I'm not too familiar with the.
Oh, because that's what I am. Because if she's a Virgo, then so am I.
See, she was born the 19th. Of that month.
Oh well. Oh, that's not Virgo then. That would be Leo if she was born the 19th.
Oh yeah, but once again in 2011, what games I remember from that year? Mass Effect, I think the first one came that year.
Rayman made
Legend of Zelda's Skyward Sword.
Oh yeah, it came out like late that year.
Also, the Rayman 2D series made a comeback with the Rayman Origins.
Yeah, we had.
Did you say Rayman?
Yeah, Rayman Origins.
Oh yeah, that game. I think I remember hearing that game coming out that year.
You had Modern Warfare 3 that came out.
As well as Battlefield 3. You had that too. You also had Dark Souls, Batman Arkham City. You had the Elder Scrolls. You had Portal 2. You also had Assassin's Creed Revelations.
And you also, as you mentioned, as you had to mention about the education, you also had the Vita that got announced. I remember hearing a lot about the Vita in 2011.
Oh yeah, the PlayStation Vita.
Yeah, it was so hype. People said this one killed 3DS, but then found out later that Vita was like destroyed.
Yeah.
And then this is another year where Star Wars: The Old Republic came out, as well as Saints Row 3.
Oh yeah. 2011 definitely kind of like planted the seeds of the age generation for sure.
Gears of War 3 also came out that year.
Yeah.
And then the biggest game of all, that was even bigger than Call of Duty 3. I mean, Modern Warfare 3, Angry Birds.
Angry Birds.
Oh, for the phone.
Well, that game a lot.
Oh yeah. Oh, that good. That game was so big after the movie Real that everybody, even my mom was playing that, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a casual game, you know.
The
so
game
it's easier for
people
that age.
Yeah, the game already been out for 2 years, but it really blew up to like 20.
Yeah. You're right. Angry Birds was out in 2009, but it wasn't until the Real version came out that everybody was like addicted to it.
Yeah, but I remember like, as I know you mentioned like smartphones on my hangout. I was like, the first app that I remember being like huge. I mean, was Dude Jump, Android Jump, the one with the Android and like jump. That's like the first one I remember. It came out like 2010, 2009. That was like the first like big mobile app game for like Android. Yeah, so now we're gonna move on to 2012.
So about 2012. Let's see. That's when the Wii U came out.
And now we had the Wii was pretty much over.
As well as the PlayStation Vita.
Yeah.
You had the what else came out that year? Mass Effect 3 came out that year. The PS3 Super Slim. The PS3 made no new design that year.
PS3 Super Slim?
Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah. That's the one I had too. Because when I first got the PS3, I had the first Slim version, but that one ended up breaking over time because I don't know what caused it to not read no more games and all, but it was able to read games, but it was messed up to the point where I would not hear the music or anything else or even the sound. So I practically for that whole year I didn't even play my PS3 at all. So until I got the newer one, which was the Super Slim in late of that year. But yeah, I do remember having that one too, and I actually still have that one today, the Super Slim.
Nice. What else came out? Oh, Pokemon Black and White. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this for last year, 2011. Pokemon Black and White, and then Pokemon Black and White 2 came out in 2012. I mean, that game was like fun. That's like my favorite main like Pokemon games. Black and White 2, man. That game is so fun. Like, it has so much replayability. We had, what else? I didn't really play much games for 2012 besides Call of Duty Pokemon. But I do know, I do remember hearing about the review. I remember hearing about the Vita as well. Um, I think they were still making PSP games at that point. I think that was like the last. So,
Other games that came out in 2012 was Assassin's Creed 3, which introduced a new character of that universe,
yeah.
and then you had The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Walking Dead. Wow. This one, Walking Dead, became like popular. And if
So
you want
into
to,
it.
if you want to include mobile games, this was also the year where what's that? What app? Temple Run was very popular back then. But like Temple Run, that was another big mobile game from like the early 2010s.
Borderlands.
Oh, I
There
said
was, there was
Temple.
another there was another Borderlands game that came out in 2012.
Oh yeah.
And then the biggest one of all, Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
Oh yeah, that game was even bigger than one. First one. That game was.
And then you
My,
also had Amazing Spider-Man.
yeah, when Black Ops 2 came, I feel like Call of Duty was at its peak when Black Ops 2 came out.
Oh yeah, that's when it maybe became futuristic. It wasn't futuristic compared to the one game after that, but it was so futuristic. We actually got a level that it was called Nuketown 2025.
Yeah, but Ghost, that game was super futuristic. Ghost was
Oh man, I didn't play that game at all. Actually, I heard that game was awful, so I didn't really get it. But yeah, it was definitely futuristic though.
Yeah.
Other games that came out in 2012. It seemed like there wasn't really that many ones, but there was like Mass Effect 3. Darksiders 2. There was another Hitman game called Absolution.
Oh yeah, for 3DS you had what's that game? Kid Icarus came back.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've heard of that game.
Yeah.
Also, was it this year that Animal Crossing New Leaf came out? I believe.
Oh, it came out in 2013. Yeah. Oh, you had DS XL came out that year as well.
So going into 2013, since we just this is a year that started to spark my interest in gaming a bit more than the previous 3 years did. Like this is the year, of course, the Wii U was already out for a full year back then. This is when Rayman Legends came out.
Yeah, me too, Captain. That's when I really got into gaming again in 2013. Like, because the 8th generation consoles.
You could definitely say that again.
Like
2013, 2013, like you said, like you guys said, it seemed like it had way more interesting games for the last few years combined.
Yeah, it was more excitement because of the 8th gen was coming out, and you had a lot of good games. You had a lot of, but 360 and PS3, it didn't seem like it was on its way out though. Like it still seemed like it had like a few more years left. The PS3 and 360 because the 7th generation lasted so long. But so like people were saying when those consoles came out that they were rushed, and that shows how much longevity those consoles had, by that point. Like we were so used to playing PS3 and 360s that we weren't even thinking about, we weren't really thinking about the next generation until about until about May of 2013 when 360 or the Xbox One got revealed. Yeah. So
the biggest releases that come to mind, I didn't really play that many new releases this year, although I bet it had a lot of interesting ones. The biggest one, GTA 5.
Oh yeah, that was the huge game that year.
What's crazy? I just got GTA 5 like last February. I waited almost 5 years to play that game. Everybody's been talking about the game for years, and I never played it. I was like, wow. And people are still on that game. I have to.
I know it's really fun, especially online. Oh man, my cousin had so much fun with. I actually had that game. Like I beat the whole story mode. But I had it for the PS3 like at that time because I did not have a PS4 yet. But yeah, so I didn't get it for the PS3. It was like I said, it was pretty fun. I beat all story mode. I was trying to have some fun online, but I really I didn't get to have too much because by the time I was able to enjoy it more, that game was nowhere to be found for some reason. I guess somebody must have stole it from me or something. So
Oh wow.
yeah,
Poor
that
nerdy.
ended that fun right there.
Poor nerdy.
I know.
But 2013, another game that came to mind as far as big releases, The Last of Us. That game was hype.
Oh yeah.
That game had so much hype when it came out, like in 2013.
I
Oh
played a bit of
yeah.
that game.
It's not really remembered now, but this game also had a lot of hype, but not many people talk about it now. Was it? Forgot. Beyond Two Souls, yeah, where you can actually interact. It's like you actually interact with the world around you on the PS3.
Oh.
Yeah, it was pretty hype, but now it's like forgotten. But when the game came out, people were hype when that game came out. See.
So before we wrap up this stream a bit, you know what? And now I want to talk about the era of the Wii U and the original era of the PS4 and Xbox One collectively.
Yeah, might as well because basically the current generation. I mean, I know the Switch is out, but I mean, it's like more 8.5 now versus being full blown 9th gen.
Are you talking? Wait, we're asking generation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're still. I'm not. Well, the 8th generation has been out for like 5+ years at this point. Well, actually, yeah, because thanks to the 3DS and the PS Vita. But I think what you were trying to get at, Mario. I don't know if you said it, but correct me if I'm wrong. But I feel like we probably are in the transition now. Now that we have the Nintendo Switch at this point.
Yeah.
We also have new versions of the Xbox One and PS4.
Yeah. So this is like the quintessential half generation, because the last time this happened was with the 16-bit era where we had 2D to 3D, like in the mid-90s.
Yeah, and then we switched, and then we transitioned from. I mean, everything was still 3D regardless, but we transitioned from 3D to HD. Now we're transitioning from HD to 4K or something, 12K, I think, 20K.
And then we're going to have VR also.
That too.
Yeah.
So like 8th generation overall, it's been a pretty. It's been pretty. How can I say this? It felt slow at first because like it just felt like a lot of ports of last gen. That's what it was for like 360 and Xbox One. For the Wii U, it was really hard for the Wii U because Nintendo was lost a lot of its fans from outside. Like, all the casuals were like pretty much gone.
And not only did they lose their fans, but they also lost one of their most well-known people.
Satoru Iwata.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a tragic day for a lot of Nintendo fans.
It was like, I mean, like that. I was like, wow, really? Like when I found out he died, I was like, this must be a joke. Like, no way he died. Like he was just at E3. Like he just seen him tweet about E3 like a few weeks ago, and then Shokio, the first time he mentioned earlier, he said he died, and I'm like, what? Because like somebody who you hear about every day as a Nintendo fan, just passed away. I was like, wow, that was like the most unexpected deaths in gaming history.
So one final topic I want to talk about before we wrap the stream up. Do you guys think that this will be the last generation of video game consoles before games go to like a streaming services like where the movies and music is now and TV shows?
I'm not sure. I think we'll probably have one more because while we have the Nintendo Switch, which is obviously and maybe arguably considered 9th generation, we have two more coming. We have to also think about the consoles that's coming up from Sony and Microsoft in the next few years or so. Because I believe I was reading about like futuristic. There's supposed to be a PS5 coming out within next year or so, or 2020, and as well as the new Xbox.
And what would you say is the reason why video games haven't gone to streaming service the same way that even though they're starting to do a bit with the Steam and stuff, they haven't obviously gone the same way as to the full extent that movies have with Netflix and stuff like that, or TV shows, or music has.
That's a very good question about that. I mean, I don't know if I can answer this well, but I think the main reason why it hasn't gone that way yet is probably because video games in general have their own little group compared to, and video games are not really that much of a media format compared to like movies and music. It's really its own thing, and it requires you to have a controller, all that kind of stuff, and you get to interact with people. Unlike with movies and games, with music, you don't.
True, Another thing about the only thing about gaming going, because another thing about this generation, a lot of people feel like this generation is going to be replaced by either by PC or by mobile, because mobile games was so popular by the time the age generation arrived. A lot of people say that's going to kill Nintendo handhelds, but it didn't. It really didn't, because Nintendo handhelds is like its own thing. It's not really. It's not really meant to be compete with mobile. It's like its own little thing. That's why Switch is so successful, because it's a handheld, but it's also a console. And you can play Nintendo games, whether it's on TV or on the go. So that's why Nintendo can always survive. When the market changes.
Yeah, I totally agree with Mario said. Oh yeah, everything. Yeah, that is exactly why video games, as well as what I said, is why it hasn't gone streaming yet, because it's its own little thing. It's not the same as movies and music. It's not. It's like its own little thing.
That's true, because a lot of the people that buy the main consoles, like the PS4 and Xbox One, are the more hardcore types that have been playing it since at least since the 5th or 6th generation.
Or even the 4th or 3rd. But like I said, you've had a lot of hardcore games that have gone a long way since then. And just to see something like their thing that they always like to do become a streaming thing, it won't turn out so well for them.
Yeah, because a movie, even though actually they did say that 70% of gamers are actually casual, but the majority of those people are playing those on their phones, like games like Angry Birds or Minecraft or Plants vs. Zombies.
Yeah.
But see what I was about to, but yeah, when it comes to the big consoles though, so it's mainly the hardcore card playing. It's not like a movies or a music or a TV shows where it's mostly casuals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that. Yeah, you actually get to interact not only with the players that you're playing the video game, but when you play online, you get to interact around the whole world. You actually get to hear their voice. Unlike on music and movies.
And so speaking of that, one of the things I wish they had here on a Google Hangouts was an option to play games. Like obviously they can't download big games, but I wish they had something like Uno or something. On Google
yeah, that would be so nice.
Yeah, if the three of us would be playing Uno.
Oh yeah, I love that game. I mean, I haven't played it in years, but I love that game.
The 8th generation overall, I think the 8th generation is gonna be remembered as the kind of like the transition between traditional gaming and futuristic gaming, because traditionally gaming has always been you plug up your console, hook up the TV, put in whatever disc or cartridge in the console, and bam, you're good to go. But ever since last year, ever since the latter half of the 7th generation, has become more streamlined, become more more, how can I say it, internet focused, where you have Netflix and YouTube on your consoles, Hulu and stuff, and also become more focus on being a media hub rather just being a game console. Gaming is now becoming more a lifestyle device. Like you look at Microsoft, for example. A lot of people hated the Xbox One when it first revealed, because they felt like it was more of a lifestyle device versus just being a console.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the console when they first introduced it, I believe they were saying something about TV sports, or as I like to mock them in, is actually sports. Yeah, that's how they first introduced the Xbox One as. You there?
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm still here too. But for that name, I mean, I understand the concept and all, but they really should have kept the name 720. Calling it the one was really confusing because there's already a one for Xbox.
Xbox original.
And it's yes.
At the
I would
very
have
least,
loved it, but they should have
at the
kept
very least, they could
720
have
at
called it
least.
the Xbox 3.
That too, or 540.
Yeah.
540. That's funny.
Anyways, this has been a good live stream.
I can agree with that. I had so much fun. I had so much fun on this live stream. I thought there was actually going to, honestly, when I first got on here, I thought there was going to be way more people on here, but I guess not today because they must have been busy today for this day or so.
Yeah, the good thing about us smaller group chats is that everyone has a better chance of having something to say in the conversation. You know.
That is true because when Mario does the live streams, I've noticed that like a few users like Tim don't really talk as much, and then you have Mark who tries to conversate, but his background music is too loud to the point where we can't even hear anybody or even him as well. Yeah. And then and then even when Wobo was on there, that one time I was on there, he didn't really talk as much either. I noticed.
I also noticed that even Rainbow was saying most of the times in the group chat that she was getting bored with the conversation.
Right. Like I can't understand how she gets bored with certain things. Like how she gets bored with TV shows. Like how do you get bored with that? Like that doesn't make any sense.
I guess then again, remember she is part of that generation that that doesn't watch much TV.
I mean, I can understand not everybody can watch TV, but how do you think it's boring? Like there's no TV show out there that's for her or for something that she would actually enjoy. There's nothing out there like that for her.
And one thing about their generation is that rather than TV shows, they grew up with the YouTube videos, which are usually a lot more quicker and stuff.
That's true. YouTube has been a bigger platform for them than traditional TV ever was.
Yeah.
True, because the Generation Z, TV, YouTube is but one thing, YouTube pretty much raised Generation Z, It came out,
they sure did.
It came out when they were most of them were toddlers, and then as they got older, and as YouTube matured, it's become more and more, ingrained. I watch YouTube videos from 2006, and I see these, they were I see kids born 2005, 2006, they were babies on YouTube, and then 10 years later, they become YouTubers themselves. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
They go from being babies to having a YouTube channel themselves. Wow.
Yeah, because it really is amazing because I also started watching YouTube the same year Mario did, and it's kind of just funny how you see comments from people born within that time frame, and wow, these people are literally about the same age as YouTube. It's amazing.
Oh, you said 07 you started watching YouTube?
06.
Yeah, that's also when I started watching YouTube.
Oh, 06. Okay. Oh, so you was on YouTube early. You was on YouTube.
Yeah, and I could have created an account back then, but unfortunately, I wasn't into that, considering that I was just wanted to watch more funny videos, and the fact that if I were to even create an account as well as make videos, I would have had to have a webcam or something.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I didn't have
anything
I didn't have anything like that back then.
Yeah,
so.
That would have been a lot back then,
It would have been so much. It would have been so much more compared to today. All you practically need, is really your laptop because it's a built-in webcam from there.
Oh yeah, but then laptops had webcams back then because I remember my sister had a computer with a webcam in 07, 08.
Right. Oh, but yeah, I mean, I understand there were webcams then, but I don't think they were practically built in. I think they were more like a standable item. You have to go buy. You have to go buy that separately. I think.
Oh yeah, true that. Yeah, but unless you had a camcorder, you had a USB. Yeah, that was like the best.
Yeah,
option.
people would have also have to use that too, because you also have to think about YouTube back then. Before it came the way like it is now. There used to be way, and I mean way more home videos compared to now. Way
Yeah.
more home videos. That's how videos such as like Charlie Bit My Tunes got popular in the first place.
Anyways,
It was a home video, so yeah.
anyways, about to stop the broadcast right here.
All right, Captain. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah,
It's
same
a
here.
pleasure.
I appreciate you inviting me too.
No problem. This has been a great conversation. I hope to do a conversation like this sometime in the future.
I'm down with that.
All right.
Yeah, what you want your next stream to be about?
And I'll think it may be something gaming related again, maybe something in the TV or TV music.
So I think music will kind of just all of us as well because I mean,
well,
me a nerdy gamer, we could talk about hip hop for days.
Also, since remember that first stream I didn't go so well, I was thinking about maybe doing a stream where we talk about music, like restarting it.
Yeah, music would be a good idea.
Especially since Nerdy wasn't in that first stream.
Oh yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, like 2 weeks ago I was working.
I also think that Infinity would like to take part in that stream as well.
Oh yeah, because Infinity's like a music nerd. Like,
Yeah, where is she today? Because it seemed like she wouldn't be at work this late unless she's doing something else.
Anyways, about to stop the broadcast right here. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, see you guys back on in the 2000s or Poppedia.
See ya.
All right.
Bye.